Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night Hobby Hangout. I hope everybody is well. I hope you've all been well since Monday. I hope Tuesday and Wednesday have all been pretty good for you. I hope you've not been working too hard. And I hope you've all got your brushes at hand. You've got your models ready to go tonight, and whatever you're painting, let me know in the chat what you're painting tonight. We are going to be, I'm saying we, me as in me. I'm going to be painting up some more of my my Orc Ships for Armada, so we'll get them under the table camera in a little bit, and you can have a closer look at them. But yeah, I started painting them up. I got a couple done, and then things got sidetracked, and I ended up chasing things all over the place. So yeah, I'm going back and getting them finished so I can get them onto a battle report at some point. Let's have a look in the chat, see who we've got. Lord Maiden, hello to you, mate, in nice and early. Mark Wright as well, nice to see you, sir. Peter Kuman, hello to you, good evening. Dirk saying bacon and brown sauce, everybody. I had a bacon and brown sauce sandwich this morning. Very nice it was too. Where else? Ortega, can't stay, was looking forward to seeing the catch-up. Hello, Ortega, in the catch-up, mate. I hope you're well. Blizzard says, ahoy ye scallywags. And Lord Maiden says, hoist the sails, we'll be fast approaching the shores of the BlackJack legacy booty. Our me hearties. Our Jim lad, I was going to say. Stu Hayes, hello to you, mate. Hello, Christian. Says, hope you're all well. ASDF says, hi all as well. Hello to you, mate. Marcus says, I think I'm going to clean my mounted Knight of Shrouds today. Why is it that sounds like a euphemism, even though it's not? Busy's in, good evening to you, mate. I hope life is treating you well over there in Spain, sir. It certainly can't be as cold as it is here, that's for sure. I've been doing a bit of work outside tonight or this afternoon. We might chat about it later on, but yeah, by bloody hell, it gets a bit nippy. Blizzard is working on his Blitzball team. Very nice, mate. Which team are you painting at the moment? Tony says, good evening, you young scoundrels. Hope you're all keeping well. Hello, mate. Peter Kuman's already finished what he was painting. That's it, mate. You've peaked too early. Jeff Higgins in as well. Good day to you, sir. Barry Kleiber, howdy to you. Good afternoon. Marcus is saying, yark, mateys. Bobby Clark, hello, fellas. He's stuffing his face with his girlfriend's birthday cake while watching. I hope you got some good pictures of that cake, mate. And happy birthday to your girlfriend today as well. Ruas is saying, evening, people. Hope you're all fine this Wednesday. Fine and dandy, mate. Fine and dandy. I've even got a nice little, a little bit of drop of the good stuff while I'm painting tonight as well. Where we are? Tony's he's stripping Hellion surfboards. I like those models, to be fair. Joachim says, evening, folks. He's painting more terrain tonight. Is it more Burrows and Badger stuff, mate? Kodos is in as well. Good evening to you, sir. Simon Tunkley even, I'll get the words right, says he's painting some orcs tonight. Lord Maiden says he's painting more mini gang models that he posted on Patreon. Seems like a good, simple game with some complexity if you want it. That can't be bad, mate. 4 figures aside, that's what you want. Small's in as well. Good evening to you. Dirk says painting some metal GW Beastmen and some Frostgrave cultists. Nice mix of stuff, mate. Barry says he's really excited that a card pack is coming, allowing you to use your Black Seas ships in Armada. Yes, mate, they always did promise they were going to do that. So basically, for the Kingdoms of Men faction, there's no point trying to kind of make new ships for it when Warlord already basically sell like sort of human ships. So I think there was always some kind of deal there. I think, if I remember right, you can only buy the cards through Warlord, I think. But I could be wrong on that one. Just building some Malifaux models. He needs to find a little child to assist me with some of these small pieces. I was building some what they call dystopian wars ships today, and there are some tiny pieces in those as well. Tiny little shields that glue on the front of the ships. They were so difficult to kind of hold and clean the little, like, sort of, you know, when you clip them off the sprue. So I couldn't actually, I was trying to like hold them down and run a little knife along them. Yeah, that's that. I mean, thankfully they were only little small bits, but I think they're definitely the smallest bits I've ever dealt with. Adam Jackson, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Blizzard's doing his undead team. Nice choice. Busey says it's a lovely day here. Weather-wise, hit 23 degrees, which is good for January. 23 degrees is good for summer here, mate. To be fair, I think we're probably about 2 or 3 degrees at the moment. Small Seas can finally watch a full stream tomorrow. Bad weather, so I don't have to work. That can't be bad, can it? Oh, tomorrow's bad weather. I was going to say watch a full stream tomorrow. Who are you going to watch? Good morning to VG. I hope you're well, mate. Nice and sharp. Adam's saying he's painting Free Guild for Age of Sigmar. I like the Free Guild models. And Mark Bercloth's in as well. Good evening to you, mate. So, on that note, let's crack on and get some painting done. So this is where we got to last time. This one's, it still needs a little bit of touching up and stuff, but I'll go back and I'll kind of finish these things up a little bit once they're all done. I'll just get the basics done on them. But yeah, I'm not spending overly too much time on them. They're orcs. They're a bit ramshackle. We'll get them up and running. So we are just basically tonight. I think I'm just gonna. We've got these with these little like sort of sloop things. 2 of those, and I forget what these are called now. It's so long since I looked at them. So I think we're just gonna crack on and just throw some paint on it. So I hope everybody is well. I hope you've all. I hope you're all not too bad. I'm just using, for my own memory here, I am using Mornfang Brown because I've had to go back through my old videos to try and see what colours I was using. So I'm just using the tatty old brush here, to be fair. We're not trying to do anything too fancy. I spend far too long just trying to get base coats down. Especially considering I'm just going to go and sort of tie it anyway. And so yeah, the trick is just to get paint on the model, and we'll worry about dry brushing and everything else and the metallics later on. Especially when I'm on these live streams, I end up painting these like this stuff that I'm not really too fussed, like just getting the base coat down. I end up sitting like with a size 2 brush, just taking forever. So, Peter said he's assembling some Noblars for ARS Augurs. Very nice, mate. Very nice. At some point, I do have to finish off my Augurs as well. I've just got loads of like kind of part finished bits and pieces that I felt sort of full of enthusiasm when I started them. But this year, since I started doing well, last year I should say. Since I started doing this a bit more, since I started doing this full time, I've ended up kind of sort of getting more stuff on my plate to paint and things. So that's why I'm trying to make a point of finishing the things I've started now, because I've got quite a few things on my plate. So the Malifaux stuff, obviously, I've been painting that up. I've been painting the terrain as well, and doing that on video. So you'll see that the Wild West Exodus terrain I've been painting up. You'll see that in the video, and you'll see a kind of like a how to paint thing coming up soon. I need to finish that off, but as I mentioned on Monday, my little boys had to isolate from nursery because of coming in contact with somebody. He's absolutely fine, so there's no kind of issues, but it's quite difficult to get any filming done and concentrate on stuff while I'm looking after him. So this week's been a little bit more of a write-off, but we'll get back on track next week when he's back. So yeah, what was I talking about? So the Malifaux stuff, I've been painting that up. I've got some Dystopian Wars stuff that arrived on Saturday, and I've only just today got the building instructions for those. So I'm busy sort of building them up as well, so I can have a look through the rules and maybe play like a little kind of, even if I have to play it myself, really just a bit of a demo game so I can give it a review for folks as well. What else we got? War Cradle also contacted me today as well and said they're sending out some Mythos stuff. So we've got some Mythos stuff to come in the future. I've still got what was the stuff I got just before Christmas? The Drowned Earth stuff as well. So yeah, it's all go. I mean, the problem with it is it just takes time. Like you've got to get things painted, and nobody wants to see unpainted stuff on the channel. So yeah, these things all take time, but these are the things that'll they'll creep into the painting streams. You get to see the models and have a nice look at them and stuff, and they'll creep into Monday night chats and things. So yeah, there's plenty on the horizon, that's for sure. I'm not short of things to be making videos about, that's for damn sure. Tony said he's looking forward to seeing the Wild West Exodus terrain vids. That terrain is wonderful. Yeah, it's really nice, mate. And also the email I got from War Cradle today that said they were putting some stuff in the post was some of the new Mythos terrain as well, mate. So it's the like the fishermen's huts and things like that for, I forget what their world's called. I forget what it is, mate. But Dunwich, is it maybe? I think it's called something like the little kind of town thing, like how the Wild West Exodus stuff's called Red Oak. I think this is called something like Dunwich or something like that. So yeah, it'd be nice to get a look at it. I think it comes all pre-coloured as well. So whilst the Wild West Exodus stuff comes like kind of like pre-primed in blue, I think this stuff comes like pre-primed in different colours depending upon the different bits. So technically you wouldn't even have to paint it if you didn't want to. Lord Maiden saying, sounds like a lot on your plate, but I can sit patiently and cheer you on and help where I can. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, like I said before, it's great to have all that stuff. I mean, a lot of channels obviously have sort of multiple people doing stuff. Some channels have like studios painting all that stuff, and that I ain't earning enough money to be considering paying people to be painting my stuff just yet. But and also it's a timing thing and that as well. So like obviously it just takes time. I like to build the stuff and I like to build it and paint it so I can give you an honest opinion of what it's like what's the quality like when you come to build it and paint it yourself as well. If I farm it out to people, then I guess I'm not really getting the full experience. Like for example, I've been building some of the dystopian war ships today, and there's a few little things where it's like not negatives, just observations really of things that I would definitely kind of highlight when I'm talking about it. Things where certain things went together really well. The fact that the plastic sprues come with loads and loads of different options. That's going to keep focused now, isn't it? They come with loads of different options, so you can build multiple kind of like different types of ships out of them as well, which is great from a perspective of like if you want different types of ships, it's probably just that one sprue that you keep buying over and over again and getting the different options out of it. But by the same stretch, when it comes to the starter box, there's that little bit of analysis paralysis of I haven't played it yet, I haven't read the rules, and I don't really know like how I should be building the ships. So there's just little observations like that. Them's the kind of things that are good to kind of know when you're doing reviews and you're talking about the games. So that's the plan, folks. But we'll get to it. As I said as well, on the weekends, I've been trying to not work on a weekend, or try not to work too much on a weekend, and get a bit of family time together, and got loads of bits of DIY jobs around the house need doing. So yeah, I've been trying to get that done on a weekend. Is that material? I think it is material. So, well, that was a damn sight bit quicker. Get in between the bits here. So what's everybody been up to then? How's work treating people? How many of you still at home working? How many of you are still managing to get out and go to work? Has anybody furloughed? Just nice to see how people are getting on. Nice, that's what these community hangouts are all about, just reaching out and checking in on folks and making sure everybody's all right. Tony says, awesome, I love the Mythos terrain. I wish I had the space for it. I'd be all over that. Yeah, I'm fortunate. I've got I'm not too short of space. I'm not too short of storage space. I don't have a lot of space in this room here. But yeah, storage space in cupboards and loft space and stuff like that, I'm not too shy of. So right, we might as well get some brown on these ones as well. Simon Tuckley says, love the design of the ship, and it has a fair bit of details. Yeah, there's quite a bit of details on these, to be honest. Let's just come on, focus in so I can I mean, obviously it's a bit wet there, but yeah, there's like even on these boards and stuff. Once that dries a little bit, I'll be able to show you a bit better. But yeah, there's quite a lot of grain and stuff on the actual wood. Small says, I'd rather have a preset example for minis to glue instead of giving 20 options. Yeah, to be honest, I mean it's really clever what they've done, because essentially what they've done is they've got they've got one sprue, which I think there's two different ships on it. So one is kind of like the frigates, which are just like they only get made one way, and then the other one is kind of, I think it's like a cruiser or something like that. But you can make the cruiser up, I think, in 3 or 4 different ways. So whilst I think it's a really good use of the sprue, it's just when it's in a starter set, there's that little bit of like, I don't really know what's good to build on. I'll tell you what, let me just put this onto manual focus, because this is going to keep wanting to pick up on the background. There we go. That should be a bit better now. Yeah, and ordinarily it wouldn't be that much of a problem, because you just follow the instructions in the book or whatever, or you'd follow the instructions on the website or on the videos and that kind of stuff. But because I've got it early, like it doesn't release until this Friday, I think it is. Because I've got it early, the build instructions and all of the stat cards aren't available yet. They're going to be on the website, but the website's not been updated with them yet. So I had to email them today, because it arrived on Saturday, and when I tried to start looking through the rules and stuff, I realised that I didn't have any stats for the ships. So I didn't like kind of know what I was like, which guns go on which models and stuff like that. So I had to email them, and they very kindly sent me the build instructions, and they said that the stat cards are not quite finished yet. They'll be ready for Friday. So I can't really look at the different stats to see which ships or kind of point costs like work best with the starter kit. And the build instructions basically just tell me all of the different options. So I can choose which ships to build, but I don't have enough information to kind of make an informed choice at the moment. That's the only problem. So it's not something that if anybody buys it or anybody's pre-ordered it and are waiting for it to arrive, it's not a problem that anybody else will have. It's purely just a problem that I've got for getting it a bit early. So, and I'm sure some of the other folks who got it early, I think the war hosts got theirs a little bit earlier if they'd ordered it and stuff. And I saw that Straw from Battlehammer was busy building his stuff up as well. I think, like for example, Straw and Parker from Battlehammer, they have their names in the front of the rule book as kind of like play testers and stuff. So I'm assuming people like I've got a little bit more kind of advanced knowledge of what the hell they're doing. I'm coming at it from a complete novice. I never played the original game. It's completely new to me, so I'm learning just the same way anybody else would be. But it's just I don't have the information to be able to make choices at the minute, so I'm building all the ones that only go together one way to kind of to make a start and make a dent in it. So, but they're nice models. They're going together well. VG says back laptop decided to shit itself right after I type morning. Peter says there we go. He's posted these Japanese infantry in the Facebook group. I'll have a look at that, mate, later on when I stop for a bit of a break. Tony says, I did really like the look of the dystopian ship with the fat hull. It just ticked my boxes for aesthetics. Yeah, the big resin ones, mate, look really, really nice. There's loads of detail on them. But again, what they do is, so the resin ones come with the main hull, and then you get to choose what kind of like what kind of generators you fit to them and what kind of guns you fit to them. And unfortunately, I don't really know. Sort of, what I don't want to do is fit stuff to them that basically doesn't work in the game, kind of thing, or doesn't work very well with the starter set and kind of unbalances them, or gives me a one side with a kind of like a downside. I thought about just basically sort of building them up the same as the back of the box pictures. That's probably going to be the best way to do it. Just build it exactly as it says in the box. But it's just good to know what I'm actually putting on them at the minute. But no doubt in the next couple of days that information will start to come through. So, and this week it's obviously with me looking after the little one. Today, while he was sitting having his lunch and stuff, I was sitting next to him at the dining table building a few ships and stuff like that. So I managed to kind of squeeze a little bit of work in today. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a whirl. It feels a little bit more complex rules wise than Armada, but it feels like there's a lot of scope, a lot of tactics in it. Right. There's another one down. What shall I do? You know what? I'm going to get. I might as well crack on and just keep putting the paint onto these holes. I'll get another one of those stops. Simon says, I've been off since early March last year due to COVID. Now I have long-term symptoms, so waiting to see a specialist. I hope you make a full recovery soon, mate. It's not a nice place to be, buddy. Peter says he's doing pretty good. Just got a raise at work. That kind of be bad, mate. Kind of getting a bit of a pay rise, and highly overdue due to COVID limiting our service. So we get everything I should already have in one go. Also 90% sure I'm switching to weekend shifts. Is that something you want to do, mate, or is that not? Scott saying, evening all, late joining, just starting to paint a more crusher. Very nice, mate. Marcus is saying he really needs to build and add new shelf in his room to display his new anime figures. I don't really display anything in my room, if I'm honest. I've got my Armada ships up on a little shelf here, and I've got my Malifaux minis just on my desk because they were on the main table, but I took them off for Monday's live stream. But yeah, most of my stuff's in drawers or in boxes. So I should really try and get somewhere to display them, really. It's just that in this room, I try to keep this room accessible just for filming in, really. So the less stuff I've got in here that is just decorative, the better, really. Be nice to have a nice big studio one day, but maybe when I'm rich and famous, we can all live in hope. So, Yoakum says he's all over the place as usual, painting one building that should work for Burrows and Badgers, and he's also painting the catacombs terrain and some other stuff. There's nothing wrong with having multiple projects on the go, mate. Whatever keeps you interested and motivated is A-OK. It's when you're feeling kind of dejected and unmotivated, that's when it's time to kind of finish one project. That's a good way to get you back on a happy place kind of thing. But if you're having fun, mate, you paint what the hell you like. Ruas said he's working from home using the dinner table as an office while kids are running around all day long. It's great, except I have to get work done. Yeah, I tell you what, mate, it's I can feel your pain. I mean, I'm in a very fortunate position that I can kind of pick and choose when I'm working. So, for example, like now he's in bed, now he's asleep. So so this morning I got up early this morning, set everything up for tonight's live stream before he'd even really kind of gotten out of bed. And then obviously spent the day with him, and then when my wife finished working for the day, I then came upstairs and set my cameras up and got all my paint stuff out and got refilled the wash pots and put a new thingy, what do you call them, a new piece inside my wet palette. And these are all the little things that just take time, like get like the stream keys all set up, do all the tests, move the microphone from Monday nights, and it's just all them little bits, really. But it all takes time. But like I say, I'm fortunate that I can kind of pick and choose my hours. So while he's isolating this week, we're kind of trying to work it between us. If my wife's got a bit of a kind of a quiet hour or something during the day where she's just kind of catching up on emails and things, then she'll take over for a bit and give me a little bit of time to do stuff, which is kind of how I did the edited the Tuesday clip videos. And then basically we switch back, because obviously a lot of the job that she does is she's on meetings with team members and with customers and stuff. So it's not like she can just drop everything. And honestly, I can't even begin to imagine what it must be like for folks who have, like, I mean, we've only got one, so I can't imagine what it's like for people having like sort of like 3 and 4 kids running around the house while they're both trying to do a job and stuff. It's crazy. My sympathies, my deepest sympathies to anybody in that boat. So, let me go back a little bit. Somberlane says, evening all, starting to finish the last pieces of Catacombs terrain and listening to Andy. Finally some quality time, baby. Yes, nice to see you. Dirk's in, from both ship games I would go with Armada. I like the aesthetics more and the simpler rules. I'll brace judgment until I've kind of done them both, but my very, very quick read over the rules the other day, I think I read over them on Saturday when the game first arrived. It's a little bit more complex, and there's no bases on the ships either, so measuring's a bit different and things, so we'll see how it goes though. Got a couple of games it'll be a good video to kind of compare as well at some point, to do an Armada versus Dystopian Wars thing, and you know, which naval combat games for you. That'll make a good video at some point when I've got enough information. Blizzard says they're sending me a free copy of the rulebook. No idea when though. Yeah, I signed up for that as well, mate, to be fair. I think if it comes, I'll gift it to somebody that didn't sign up in time or whatever. One of the Patreons or something. I'll gift it to one of them. Because I won't need two. I didn't expect to get sent a set, to be fair. So, Zach Matthews, hello Zach. This is, where did you get your model holder from? These are from Redgrass Games, mate. They're basically they've got twistable tops on them, and they also come off. They also come off as well. So you just buy lots of these spare tops, and just so you can have your models ready to go, and just keep switching them out and just switching them with the holder. They're not very expensive, but they're really, really good. I would 100% recommend them. I bought it myself when they had the Kickstarter, so it's not like it was sent to me. I'm not sort of saying nice things because I got them for free or anything like that. I bought them with my own money. So Peter says, I actually watched Greyhound with Tom Hanks, and now I want to play War at Sea again. I don't think I've seen that film. I feel at the minute like we've kind of completed Netflix and stuff like that. So we started watching Armada Pet on BBC iPlayer. Unfortunately, it's not the original series. It's the ones where they were taking down the transporter bridge in Middlesbrough and taking it over to Arizona. But yeah, it's nice to see some old shows sometimes. Well, Hong Dong says, are these resin? Yes, they are resin, mate. All of the ships for Armada are all resin, mate. These are in multiple parts. Some of this is being glued together. I think, if I remember right, there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 pieces of resin glued together. What I do like about these resin ships for Armada is, 1, very, very good detail, which is always good. But 2, they've just got a nice weight to them as well. So one of the things I'm noticing with the Dystopian Wars stuff is it's super light because it's plastic, and because there's no bases on them. It's not just a case of like kind of sticking a 2p like underneath the base to give it a bit of weight or something like that. You might have to try and find a way to kind of weigh them down a little bit. But we'll see what they're like. Standard Tabletop, hello mate, how you doing? It says he finally got time and he's painting Mojo back, motoring through the Aliens game and stuff. How are things? Things are not too bad, mate. Just cracking away. I'm like I said at the start, I'm just having a bit of a catch up, trying to finish off some of these Orc Ships that I started doing but never got to finish, and I want to do some more sort of battle reports and things with them. So it would be nice to get these all finished and painted up. But I'm literally just slapping on a base coat here. I think, like I said before, I tend to take too much time just getting them first base coats because I'm trying to be too neat. At the end of the day, you just want to get just use a crappy old cheap craft brush and just get the base colours on and get them done. Marcus has just signed up to get his COVID vaccine shot. Nice one, mate. We're in a bit of a chat backwards and forwards with each other. Is resin toxic like some people say? Do you have to wear a mask when cleaning mold lines? Technically, yes. I mean, you don't really want to be breathing in bits of resin and stuff. So if you're sanding them down and things, like you don't really want to be breathing them in. But, and this is not me giving any advice. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not a doctor. Don't do as I do, kind of thing. But I've never, in all the years I've been working with resin, I've never wore a mask. Maybe when I die at 55, you can all tell me I was wrong. But I don't work with resin that often. I tend to kind of like cut it off with a knife as opposed to kind of like sanding it down or anything like that. The only time I've ever really had to like sort of do any sanding was I got some sandpaper and basically rubbed these along so that the bottoms were nice and flat. You can see kind of, you probably see there where I've kind of sanded the base to keep it nice and flat. But generally, no, I haven't. But yeah, it's certainly not something that you want to be breathing in on a regular basis, that's for sure, or at all really. So yeah, don't do as I do. Take whatever precaution you need, but it's certainly not. It's not like asbestos or something. Bobby Clark said, I'm having his first full week off for 12 months. Work's been super busy. Is there a reason you're not airbrushing these ships brown, by the way? Yeah, I just kind of forgot, mate, to be honest. I actually just forgot, to be honest. I think I'd... the other side of it is I don't really like doing the airbrushing on the stream, mate, just for the noise and things. And I like to airbrush into the spray booth as well, mate. So it doesn't really kind of set up for a live stream. So yeah, that's the only other reason, mate. I probably would have just, I'd have been better off just painting one of these on the live stream and then just blasting these through the airbrush. But we're here now. So yeah, I'm just slapping down the base colours here. This will all be tidied up and highlighted and dry brushed and washed and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just getting the paint. I'm thinning it down with some thinners, and then just making sure it gets into all the nooks and crannies. But yeah, Bobby's right. I probably should have just airbrushed it, to be fair. Certainly quicker. But sometimes there's something quite therapeutic about just painting something that I don't have to take too much time and attention over. Just get the colour on and just build it up. Scott's saying, if only you're doing something that would turn it into dust. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying about sanding it down and stuff. A bit of chat backwards and forwards there. Peter says, yes, asked for the weekend shift myself. 5 days home during the week and 2 12-hour shifts at the weekend. Solves our problem with the kids and had to choose a new job. Was let off. Okay, mate, right. Yeah, I mean, it's if it's something that you want, then honestly, mate, it sounds like you've got some great news. All good things. I know a lot of people, obviously, it's like some people don't like working weekends, don't like working night shifts and all that kind of stuff, and yet there's other people who absolutely love that, basically having all that time off during the week, and so especially when you've got kids and things like you say for childcare and all of those kind of stuff. I used to work continental shifts many years ago, where I worked 2 12-hour days, 2 12-hour nights, and then 4 days off, and it was, as a young lad with kind of no ties, like still living at home with my parents and things like that, it was basically just, it was perfect having them 4 days off. Like my mates and stuff worked the same shift pattern, so like it didn't really matter if it was a Saturday that we were having a night out or it was a Tuesday that we were having a night out. We still all kind of just sort of just enjoyed the time we had, really. Tony says, doing good here, mate. Feeling quite liberated as I've consigned my airbrush stuff to a dungeon and thrown the key away. I can't get a grip set for 3 years. It's not for me. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's one of those things, mate. I would never say give up, but also if you feel like you're just fighting against it, then don't worry about it. It's one of those things where it's like once it clicks, it's actually one of the simplest things to do, but it's much easier if somebody can sit down and show you, kind of thing. It's not the easiest thing to just to fiddle on with and fight against. But because there's so many moving parts, basically, it's not just a case of putting paint in and pressing on button. Like the type of paint you use, how thick, how thin it is, what air pressure you use, and all them kind of things all make a big difference. So yeah, that's why it's once you know what you're doing, you'll kind of wish you'd been doing it for years. But if you're fighting against it in the meantime, just like you say, stick it in the basement and put the key away. Scott says, no problem, basically just scraping mold lines, you should be fine. It's when you get dust in your lungs. Yeah, it's definitely, it's kind of like a resin dust thing. It's not good for your insides. If I cared more about mold lines, it might be more dangerous. Right, that will do for a basic. Oh, let's just get under there a little bit. Right, I'll let that dry, and then when those come back and take a look at it. Right, I think what we'll do, I'll just wash that brush out. Mark says, damn, just fixed a small amount of green stuff to fill some gaps. And I've put down and now I can't find it. Because his Dystopian Wars free rulebook will be coming around the same time as the starter set's released. So end of January, start of February. Yeah, shouldn't be too long, that's for sure. And like all of the other Wild West Exodus games as well, the rules are free online. All of the lore and the background is online, all ready to read. The stat cards are all free online as well. So if you have other ships, technically you could, if you collected Dystopian Wars the first time around, technically you could just give it a try, really. Give it a test and see how it plays. See if it's for you. Right, what was I just going to do there? I was going to get, I think we'll try a little bit of Baneblade Brown and just pick out a few bits before we wash it over. Scott Longworth, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. He's painting some Flames of War. Small says, I hate resin. A lot of trouble to clean them and still not taking paint on some spots. And you have to be careful with it because it breaks easily. Quite like resin, actually, mate, I'll be honest. I've never really had any breakages. Maybe I'm just a bit more light-fingered and don't drop stuff so much. But yeah, I've never really had too much trouble with resin stuff. And I bought a little kind of cheap ultrasonic cleaner a while ago for cleaning my airbrush, and I put my resin bits in the ultrasonic cleaner before I start kind of gluing them together and things. And since then I've never had any issues really, but it's certainly a bit more preparation. It's the same with metal models. I'm not a huge fan of metal models for the same reason. They're a bit more difficult to kind of clean up with like a knife and stuff, and filing and bits and pieces. Let me scroll down a little bit. Rob's Table World, hello mate, how are you doing? He says, as long as you don't paint them Rams colours. I tell you what, mate, I was tempted at one point to paint them Rams colours, but I decided to go with yellow and purple, mate. I decided to go down that route. So, how are you doing, Rob? Hope you're well. If any of you fine folks haven't already checked out Rob's channel, Rob's Tabletop World, he covers very much the similar kind of stuff to me, but it's sort of multitude of different things. A lot more board game focus as well if you're into your board games, so please do go and check him out. I know he's not coming in to kind of to hint for a little shout outs, but I like Rob's stuff. I watch his live streams as well, so normally very quietly just sit in the background, but I did comment the other day because he just became a granddad. I think he said was it the third or fourth time, mate? So yes, congrats on that as well. So yeah, I'm just picking out some random little bits of wood just to give it a little bit of definition. Really, we're going to wash over the top of it. We're going to pick some metallic bits out and things. We're not sort of spending too much effort on these. We just want to get them on the table. Scroll down a bit. Zach Matthews, saying thank you. You're all welcome, mate. VJ says 50 watching and 21 likes. Come on. Yeah, come on. You can press the like button, folks. It won't hurt. Adam Jackson, just jumping off the top of my screen there. How are you doing? If he says, if you wet your tools when working resin, the particles don't become airborne. There is that as well. There's definitely that. Christian sharing the link for the Facebook group there as well. Thank you very much, mate. We've got a nice little Facebook community there. I think there's about 1,100 people in there now. It's pretty friendly bunch, if I do say so myself. So yeah, there's no rhyme or reason what I'm doing here. I'm just, because it's a bit ramshackle and stuff, I'm assuming that they've used different bits of woods to build their ships and stuff, and I'm just kind of picking out a few bits just to give it a little bit of variance in colour before we wash it over. I'm kind of picking out the ones that's a little bit raised, but other than that, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason what I'm doing. VG says he's supposed to be mounting all the bits for the mini swap on wire for painting and working on his kiosk team, but just being told I need to drop off early, so drop offs early, yeah. Yeah. What I wouldn't give to get to be doing drop offs at the minute. Not at 9 o'clock at night, obviously, but I just mean taking the little one to nursery. He's kind of missing his friends, and he's not really old enough to understand why he can't really go to nursery. So it's a bit of a shame for the lad. Let's just pick one of these ones out here, I think. Pick another couple of bits out. We're getting there, folks. You can end up going overboard when you do this kind of thing. It's actually quite therapeutic. It's almost like painting by numbers. Just randomly picking little bits out. Right, so just picking a few little parts out there. I'll go around and do the same with the other ships we've been painting as well. Barry saying Andy and his Rams. Next year. There's always next year. Zach says order his core set with the dwarf fleet before Christmas to get free postage, not realising the dwarfs aren't released yet, so still waiting. Yeah, they're due out not too long, I think, isn't it? I've got the dwarf ones here as well. I'm sure you've all seen the dwarf ones I did, but these are my dwarf ones. Let me just put my brush down a second, otherwise I'm going to put paint all over them. So yeah, these are the dwarf ones that I've done. So there's one of them, and then we've got this one. It's another one of the dwarf ones. I love this kind of like armour down the side here. Gives you some nice opportunities to pick bits out. And then we've also got this little one here as well. So yeah, those are my I might as well show my other ones as well. Those are my dwarf ones, and then these are my Basilian ones as well. So we've got this one, not the Aloy, I forget that one's called now, Gunbrig or something I think it's called. So these were done much the same, just kind of quick paint jobs, not spend too much time on them, but it's just the little bit at the end just makes a difference. Rob, thank you very much for the donation, mate. It says support a great channel. That just went off before I could read it there. Support a great channel, folks. Let's shake loose a few shekels. Thank you very much, my friend. That really is appreciated. Yeah, so I kind of caught me off guard there. Thank you, mate. Yeah, these are another one of the Basilians, and then the big dude as well, which is this one. So that's what I had been painting for Armada before I took a bit of a break and stopped doing the dwarf ones. But so yeah, and these bases, folks, for anybody that's wondering, when Mantic sent me these, they didn't the bases weren't available yet, so they just sent me bits of foam board. So these are not even MDF. However, I got an image off Google Images and printed it out, and then I've literally stuck the image to the top. So I haven't gone to town, I haven't done anything fancy. I took a blue felt tip pen and just basically coloured in the side of the foam core. But yeah, that's exactly what I've done for those ships, and it looks really nice on the mat, to be honest. It's kind of come out all right. So yeah, super cheap way to do it. Where are we up to here? 20 says an old toothbrush will do. Helps with the paint coming off. I don't know what we're talking about now. Rob says airbrush on stream does not work. Trust me. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought, mate. I've got that little battery powered one now, which I might use on stream one day. But I don't want it to kind of like cover everything with overspray and stuff like that, and I don't want to go on my camera lenses and things like that. So it's best if I just struggle on and just use a big stinky thick brush. So Tony Howell, thank you very much, sir. Says shekels and tail feathers have been shaken. Shake the shekels. I like that, mate. Thank you very much, mate. It is hugely appreciated. Where are we up to? Marcus says, you know that I think about it. It's funny that Andy's favourite football team is the Rams, which was my old high school mascots as well. There you go, mate. My local football team, like soccer for Americans, my local team is Sunderland, and they're called the Black Cats, but they're just they're not very lucky, that's for sure. They need more than a black cat. But yeah, it's I kind of just I got a bit burned out on like sort of English football. It stopped being fun. I just stopped enjoying watching it. I had a season ticket for years. Used to go with my family, and I went with my friends when I was younger, and it just stopped being fun. I stopped enjoying it. I was only going because I enjoyed it, catching up with my mates and things like that, and it stopped being enjoyable. And I can't remember the last time I watched a football match. Like, I'm not even interested in Premier League stuff and things like that anymore now, really. But NFL, I've watched for years since it first started getting shown on the UK on Channel 4. I've always watched NFL, and I used to play a little bit as well for a couple of seasons. When we started getting English gridiron teams. So yeah, I love a bit of NFL. And the Rams have always been my team, no matter where they've been located. I think I just like the colours basically. I like the Ram on the side of the helmet basically, and you know, I guess that's how you kind of pick your teams really. They weren't a very successful team. It wasn't like I was picking them glory hunting for Super Bowl wins. I'm not a Patriots fan. Luke, thank you very much, mate. He says, if I can see the comment there, I don't manage to get here often anymore, but I love it when I do and try my best to give when I can. Check out his Patreon and support his efforts. Thank you very, very much, mate. That is hugely, hugely appreciated. Massively appreciated. If I can get back and see where we're up to now. Dirk saying, why everyone saying use old toothbrushes? That's disgusting. Use a new one, they're not that expensive. I'd agree, mate. I'd agree. Scott's in, yeah, I played Distributing Wars at UK Games Expo in 2019, and it's just a fun game. I don't plan on playing it quite as much as Wild West Exodus, but I never do start a new system. Yeah, it's I always liked the look of the miniatures when Spartan Games had it years ago. I really liked it then. So it was something I was intending to kind of give the rules a little bit of time to settle down, and then I'll give it a bit of a look over. But when they contacted me to say, you know, would you like to take a look at the starter set? Yeah, I was interested in it, so why would I say no? So right, let's just put it on here as well. Sean Clark just joining as a member there as well. Thank you very much, Sean Clark. I don't know whether the member stuff comes up on the screen or not, but it's certainly come up on my screen. So thank you very much, mate, for joining the YouTube membership program. You now get a lovely little green name in the chat and a nice little symbol next to your name. And that symbol changes the longer you're a member. The colour of that symbol changes, as you'll see, Mr. Howell there with these gold BlackJack symbol. So over time, the colours change. Peterson, yeah, time off between shifts, mostly welcome. Yeah, I can appreciate that, mate. Scott said, unfortunately, I tend to just end up going neck deep in systems. Yeah, I've definitely got those genes as well, mate. George is in as well. Good evening, George. Luke's in. So did you not paint them Rams colours, but you kind of painted them Minnesota Vikings? What was it? I did paint something Rams colours recently, and I forget what it was. There was something I intentionally painted Rams colours, and I can't remember what it was. Tony says, Rob runs a very fine channel. That he does, mate. That he does. He's another person as well who's kind of in this for the love of the games and doesn't just cover the kind of the latest hotness. And at the minute he's going back and looking at some kind of older games as well, things like Descent, first edition, and he's had stuff on the channel about Subutio and all sorts of things. I just find it's a proper, like we all are really. It's just a community driven thing really, and you get the regulars coming back and everybody hangs out on the live streams. And yeah, Rob runs a good ship, he does. Oh, topical. Oops. That's the beauty when you're painting orc stuff. if you just smudge the brush, if you kind of, like I did, where my elbow fell off the table and I dropped there, it don't matter. I mean, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Rob's in. Yeah, fourth time. Peter Kuhlman, thank you very much, mate. Getting the little dancing doggy there. Thank you very much, mate. Where else? Well, Hong Dong says, I think contrast paints are a bit too cartoony for some models. Okay for some, but not for others. Do you know what it is, mate? I've been using them more and more lately. So, for example, on this Malifaux model, I used contrast paints on all of the red here on the cloak and stuff. And by layering it on and giving it over a zenithal prime and just like layering it on, picking out some little bits of highlights, I was really happy with how that came out. So I think there's some definite tricks to using contrast paints, but I know what you mean. If you use them just exactly as they are out of the pot, I think they're a bit sort of saturated, the colours. Where if you thin them down with a bit of the contrast medium, it seems to take a little bit of the. It seems to desaturate them a little bit, and they become a lot nicer. Right, I'll try and catch up a little bit. Yeah, Zach Matthews saying looks great. Can't wait to get mine. Vijay is going to leave his hobby stuff so he can circle back and take a lunch break. Nice one, fella. Well and done says the Basilians are nice. Yeah, they were the first ones I painted, mate. I enjoyed painting those. Michael Lone, good evening, Michael. Says split the start with my buddy. He painted the Orcs. I still need to get the Basilians done. Yes, get them done, mate. Barry saying now you mention it, my high school mascot was the Rams too. It's as if it's all come full circle. Beauty says Newcastle Football League. Do you know what it is, mate? I mean, I've never been a Newcastle supporter. Obviously, I live in Newcastle now, but I'm not from Newcastle. So Newcastle is definitely like they're my kind of the rival team really to my hometown team. So I've never like sort of followed Newcastle, but it's just a bit of a standing joke really now. Like it's just constant sort of just bad news coming that way, and I keep seeing it on the news and things like that, like in the little bits that flash up on my phone and stuff, like about Steve Bruce and about what's he called, Mike Ashley and things. But yeah, I just lost interest, mate. Small says he's taking a vacation on Monday after the Super Bowl for more than 10 years now. I always used to take the day off work the day after a Super Bowl as well, because obviously we don't. I'm not sure where you are, Small, but yeah, here in the UK it doesn't finish till like kind of 3 in the morning or something like that. So I used to always stay up, watch the Super Bowl and take the next day off. But this year I'll just have a lie in. Don't need to take a day off. Yeah, we'll go back and do a bit more on this one now. Oops. Marcus says that even weirder, one of my nicknames was Black Cat since it seemed like I got jinx people. It was my high school. That or Crow, but that was because during lunch I got attacked by a bunch of crows. Oh my god. Well, Douglas, I used to like the Redskins, but I'm probably not even allowed to say that nowadays. Well, I've just said it, mate. I know it's not acceptable now. Are they just called like Washington Football or something at the moment? I don't think they've got an official name yet, have they? I don't think it's I don't think they've settled on their name yet. When the Rams got their new stadium, I never know if it's the SoFi arena or the SoFi. I don't know. It's not a company I've heard of. So sponsors. I would love to go to LA and see the Rams play in that stadium. It looks absolutely unbelievable on TV. And I guess current situations mean travel's not something high on my agenda at the moment. But one day it would be nice. Maybe as a nice little kind of treat in the future. Get out to LA and see them play at home. That would be very nice. Yeah, so as I said before, I'm just picking out random planks here, really, just to give it a little bit of. To be honest, you'll hardly notice once I've put a wash over the top of them. That's why I'm using a bit of a lighter colour, really, so it won't stand out quite so much once it's washed. Tasty Brain Drain, good evening, fella. How are you doing? Nice to see you in. Hope you're well, buddy. Blizzard said he's been a Patriots fan since back before all the rings. I've stuck with them through the good and all the shade that's been thrown over the years. I won't make any jokes about them being a letdown. Yes. I did used to have a Patriots cap, to be fair. I once went on holiday to Florida and the sun, I'd forgot to take a hat with me, and the sun was unbelievable. It was absolutely baking on my head. So I just bought a cap in a sports shop, and they didn't have a Rams one. So I just bought the Patriots one because I like the red, white and blue. But so yeah, I'm not a hater of the Patriots. They certainly got a lot of the success they deserved. Lord Maiden said, I'd like to try it again. I had a demo game with a friend before. Person left about 2/3 of the way through, and we muddled our way through. The ships disappeared strangely. What I can't get my head around at the minute is the amount of ships you get in the starter box versus the amount of ships that you play a game of Black Seas or Armada with. It feels like a game could take a long time, just purely for the amount of stuff that's on a table. But I need to push some things around the board first before I can really comment on that. But just at first glance, and I haven't seen the stats of the ships to know kind of like how much damage they've got. Like, so do they blow up to a fair wind kind of thing, or do they hang around for hours? I've not managed to work that stuff out yet, but the rules are not difficult. I mean, they're more complex than Armada, but they're not difficult rules. There's just a bit more going on, basically, a bit more stuff to keep a track of. So, but I do like the way they've incorporated the guts and glory from Wild West Exodus. I forget what it's called now, but yeah, they've managed to include sort of a similar type system. I'm trying to remember what it's called, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but you do get the cards in the starter box. Oh, my throat's drying out now. Let's have a little drop of whiskey while I'm get my vocal cords eased. Right, where are we up to here? Yoakum saying football used to be my only reason to visit the UK. Small donated, thank you very much from a Cowboys fan. I have nothing against. I'll be honest. I love NFL. Thank you very much for your donation, by the way. I love NFL, and I will literally watch any game. I don't really care who's playing. I watch it because I find it really fascinating. I think people who don't sort of get NFL kind of think of it as like it's all stop-start and stuff, but it's such a tactical game in the fact that like teams are trying to make plans based upon what they think the other team are going to do, and it, like basically they set up all of their plans. They're well rehearsed, and then basically like in this burst of kind of like 10 to 30 seconds, everything just happens, and it's absolutely fascinating to watch once you start to understand a little bit more about the players and the tactics and things. I just find it interesting. Yoakum, who's your team then? Do you have a team that you follow in the UK, mate? Sean Clark says, I'm not very IT savvy. I joined, then cancelled by mistake, so I joined again. Sorry about that, mate. Warwick says, I hope you painted part of Blood Bowl or Blitz Bowl team in Rams colours. I haven't painted any of my Blitz Bowl stuff yet, actually, I'll be honest. But I might do my Orcs in Rams colours. If I can manage to get the to get my brush control and be able to paint the little ram symbols on the side, I might do. Tony saying, yeah, welcome on, Sean. Thank you for your support. Yeah, it's hugely appreciated, mate. Peter says, that's for shaking. Tasty Brain, I think some of your Blitzball models you painted Rams colours. I haven't painted my Blitzball stuff yet, mate. I can't remember what it was. It was I know what it was. I painted the Dreadball minis. That's what it was. Lord Main says, thanks, I'll try Rob's channel, never heard of it before. Yeah, he's a good guy, mate. Definitely worth checking out. Scott says, I used to be a Ravens fan, but always got booed when I said so. I switched to the Falcons instead. Well, do you know what it is, mate? Never worry about other people's say. If I was worried about what people thought, I would never have been a Sunderland fan, that's for sure. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I know people take it kind of serious and stuff like that, but yeah, it's just sport. It's meant to be fun. Right. I don't want to pick out quite so much on this one because it's I think we may pick out some bits of all the metallic. Once we pick out the metallics and stuff, I think it'll look a bit that'll give us a bit more contrast in it. So right, let's put that one down for now. Get some metallics out. Let's catch up on some of this chat first. Adam's saying contrast paints make great glazes if you thin them with medium. Yeah. Sean's saying some contrast colours need more medium than others. You get a huge variety of finishes, and you definitely do, mate. Yeah. Sean said I was a bit snobbish over contrast initially, but love them now. I was the same, mate. I painted a Space Marine with them, and I was shown how to use the paints by Games Workshop. I was at the UK Games Expo, and they kind of showed you what to do with them, and I wasn't impressed at all. So I just kind of dismissed them. And then over time, I bought the odd few bits of contrast paints to do specific jobs. And then very kindly, Mr. Howell in the chat there sent me his paints because he said, look, I just don't like them. I'm not going to use them. If you think you're going to use them, I'll send you them. So very kindly, he sent me his contrast paints. And I must admit, I use them. I don't use them as like a contrast paint, but I do find they've just got a really good sort of rich pigment to them. And I'm using them more and more. Small in Belgium, so it ends in an hour later. Ah, okay, mate. Luke's saying, yeah, just wash it in at the minute. Whoops, just knocked the camera there. Tasty brain drain. He's a Saints fan. I didn't realise that, mate. Yeah, thorn in our side, that's for sure. Christian sharing the link there for Patreon. Thank you very much, buddy. Marcus is saying, since I do not watch Superboy, I actually watch Adam Sandler's Waterboy instead. There's a lot worse things to watch than Adam Sandler's Waterboy. Peter said I used to watch and support Washington when Channel 4 started back then. John Riggins was quarterback and Theismann the quarterback. I remember, William Perry, the fridge and stuff. He was playing for the Bears, I think. Back when the coverage first started in the UK. So yeah, that was quite some time ago. Tissy Bryn says he's doing good. Hope you are too. I'm doing very well, thanks, mate. Zach says I always watch Super Bowl, then hide next day at work in the toilet to catch up my sleep. Always been a Vikings fan and we win nothing. We've got a good mix here tonight then as well. Simon saying go Hawks next year maybe. Sundered Psych, good evening, mate. He says I used to watch Aussie rules football with my granddad, but nowadays the closer I get to a sports field is playing Blood Bowl. Peter says his only sport is dodging Walker, so ignore the COVID guidelines. Yes, mate. Right. We'll get a little bit of the Avalon Sunset. We're going to put it on and just pick out the... Whoops. I'll just put a little bit of thinners on there as well. Just get... I always say if I can punch you in the face, you're too close. How very true, mate. How very true. Right. Sunday takes I was rubbish at painting, but contrast paints give me confidence in getting things looking good. Now I hardly use them and my painting's looking great. Honestly, mate, painting is a state of mind. The problem is we're especially now with all of the different channels and the painting tutorials and Instagram and everything else, we are constantly surrounded by like fantastic paint jobs. And whilst there's nothing wrong with that at all, and they're to be admired, that they're to be like to be appreciated. They're not to be kind of seen as, if you're not this good, you're not good enough kind of thing. But I think that it definitely it's quite intimidating for a lot of beginners, and it can be quite off-putting, because I think they think that that's how they should paint. As you can see, I mean, I'm no fancy painter. I'm literally just kind of slapping this stuff on, really. But yeah, nothing a kind of a wash and a dry brush won't pull together at the end, really. As you can see from this kind of stuff like this, these are just getting base colours down, putting washes on them, picking out a little bit of highlights and stuff, just steady hand. Sometimes like brush control is the thing that you need to practice when you're starting out. That's definitely the. And then once you get a bit more confident, you've got basic brush control. That's when you start thinking about all the fancy wet blending and fancy edge highlight and all that kind of stuff. But I just like to get stuff painted. Like for me, I get the same amount of enjoyment from just having something finished to a basic standard that I'm happy with than I do from taking my time and trying to do my best work. So it's all personal choice and personal taste. If you want to push yourself to try to do a bit better, by all means do it, but don't feel that you have to. But yeah, I think it's just unfortunate, really, and it's nobody's fault. It's not like people who are really good painters are telling everybody else they're rubbish or anything like that. It's like anything in life. Like there are people at different standards. Some people go and win the US Tour, and some the PGA Tour, and some people just knock a ball around on a driving range. Like that's just how it is. Marcus says, so turn the female ghoul from the Grimwatch box into the witch from Left 4 Dead. Nice, mate. Lobin said, did like Man U back when I was growing up because my stepdad watched English football, but I found it boring. Couldn't stay awake when my local team was playing on the TV. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I find with football, like soccer, I find that I have to have like a vested interest in it for me to be excited by it. So like if my home team are like in a cup game or something like that, or like if they're playing to try and get promoted, like I'll watch that kind of stuff generally. Because there's something on the line. I've got a bit of a vested interest in it, but I don't find it interesting to watch. That's the problem anymore. Where NFL, I just find it interesting. I just find it like, yeah, just fun. It's about the only sport I do watch, to be fair. I don't really watch anything else. Tony says, yeah, I just don't get along with contrast. My style tends to use desaturated colours and they're not for me. Just made sense to pass them on. I really appreciate it. To be honest, it was one of those things where I probably wouldn't have bought them myself because I was kind of buying the odd colour when I thought I had a use for it. But by getting them all like that, like the way you sent them to me, I kind of decided just to try them and give them a go. And it was like a bit of a light bulb moment for me. I realised I could use them in different ways that I never expected to. So without actually without getting them the way I did, I probably would never have discovered how useful I found them. But it's definitely a taste thing. It doesn't suit everybody, and it doesn't suit every painting style. That's for sure. Right. I just need to tidy up. I've missed a little bit of the brown on that one. Get that bit done. I don't know why I thought that was oops, it's a bit runny. Born to lose, live to win. Good evening. Says all ice hockey for me. Great watching Billingham smash Whitley. I've never seen a game of ice hockey. I'll be perfectly honest. I know like the Whitley Warriors used to be a decent team. I remember being when I was a kid and stuff. And I forget what the Newcastle team's called now. Or certainly used to be called. I used to watch a lot of basketball as well. Because I had a friend who played for Sunderland when Sunderland were were a good team in the BBL, and then they moved to Newcastle as well when Newcastle took over all the North East sports. Is the Cobras rings a bell? Newcastle Cobras, maybe the ice hockey team, or Vipers it might have been, Newcastle Vipers. Let's have a look. Tony's saying, over in our Facebook group, we love painted minis. We have some fabulous painters. We have some who are just starting out, some in between. We love to see it all. Absolutely, mate. If people are enjoying painting, that is the like, that's what it's all about. That's what I love to see. I don't really like. It's nice to see beautifully painted stuff, and that people are proud to show off and things, and it gives people inspiration. But it's not just about that. Right. Is there anything else I need to do? I need to paint the metallics. That's what I was going to do. Evening, Phil Wilkinson. How are you doing, fella? Warwick saying I need to get back to paint these Underworld's Chosen. Wanted to paint them like World of Warcraft Dark Iron Dwarfs, but my table is covered in bits making Necromunda gang minis. Yeah, that's why I like to keep my tables clean, mate. Just if I don't keep my desk clean and keep all my minis kind of tidied away, it just gets overrun. So I do like to keep stuff clean. All right, get some metallics on the wet palette. Joachim saying likes watching Tour de France, big road bike races, but don't find it interesting. I think the thing with things like Tour de France, mate, I think it's another one of those things where there's all sorts of tactics and plans and sort of like waiting for the right moment to execute them and stuff. And I think the average person watching it just thinks, well, it's just guys riding bikes, like, kind of thing. And I think it's a little bit how I see NFL. It's the tactics under the layer once you know a little bit more about it. Barry's saying, who's your NHL team? Is it the Chicago Blackhawks that are there? But loves to watch the Wolves in the AHL. I don't even know about the different kind of the different hockey leagues and things. My wife went to Canada once with work, and she went to see. It might have been the Toronto Maple Leafs. She might have went to see play. That was a bit of like a work trip type thing that they took them on. So yeah, she used to travel all over the place with some of her jobs. Very, very worldly wise. She went to Chicago with work as well. Brought me back a very nice Chicago Bears mug. Where else has she been? She went to Miami with work as well. Brought me back some cigars. She keeps bringing back gifts. She can go where she likes. Whitley really good. Yeah, and Vipers, that was how I was right. Knicks for basketball. Devils or Maple Leafs for hockey. Nice one. Just trying to get in underneath here. Nobody will ever see it, so I'm not going to stress too much about it. Just painting the gun there, the little cannon. Peter says I watched TDF for the recent 4 years and love it. Never interested before. Tour de France, yeah. Christian saying grab yourself some merch as well. Yeah, since I hit 10,000 subscribers, a lot of my stuff now is I have a merch store on YouTube now as well. So if you go to my page, along the top you'll see the different things where there's like a tab for videos, there's a community tab, there's now a store tab, and that's a direct link to basically through to the stuff that I sell on Teespring. So it's just a little perk of being at 10,000 subscribers, I suppose. I didn't even realise that was a thing until it happened. So yeah, please do check them out. Things like the things I'm wearing tonight, these kind of t-shirts, all help support the channel. And because it is the stuff from Teespring is supplied from different locations. So if you're in Europe, it comes from a European hub. If you're in America, it comes from an American hub. The shipping is pretty reasonable as well. So, and none of this Brexit malarkey. So yeah, check it out, folks. If you're fancying a bit of merchandise, clothing, hoodies, t-shirts, Peter said he used to watch football every other week. Can't stand watching it on the telly now. It's not the same. Whoops. It's even worse now as well with no crowds. Phil's been painting his Primaris, just resting, needs some sleep. That's the way, mate. Take it easy, chill. Actually, I've definitely painted my minis for years and I've improved. I definitely reached my ceiling point now. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm not sure I've kind of reached the ceiling of what I can do, but I've reached a point where sort of time versus effort versus kind of how happy am I with them. I've reached that kind of happy medium now, and like Christian sent me some amazing resin busts for Christmas gift, a Deadpool one and a Hulk one, and I'm intending to paint them and take a bit more care and try and see like what am I capable of painting. So it's going a little bit more kind of detailed with those things. But yeah, when it comes to just minis and things, I don't feel the need to kind of that's not where I get my enjoyment from. I completely appreciate other people do, and I would encourage those people to kind of to keep painting and push the limits and stuff. But painting to a high standard is not where I get my enjoyment from generally. I mean, I take my time, I take care with them. It's not like I'm just spray painting them and then dipping them in a wash kind of thing. I still take my time with them and that, but I'm not doing 3 different levels of highlighting and kind of like wet blending and all that kind of stuff. John Estel, good evening, mate. He says, what did I miss? I have Zoom training then late. I tell you what, mate, you've been burning the candle with the Zoom training. I think, did you say you were supposed to be on a residential course? So you've had like 3 days of Zoom calls. I pity you, mate. It's not fun sitting. I was going to say it's not fun sitting on a camera all day, but it kind of is for me, to be fair. Right. So we got some of those metallics done there. I think we'll put a metallic one in there as well, as if there's a bit of a metal prop in there. Okay, that's that one. ADS says, I'll wager I'm the only one here who watches CSGO or CSGO, Counter-Strike. You probably are, mate. My sons are quite into it. I used to watch a lot of League of Legends. I used to like watching the League of Legends tournaments. And I've taken my kids to watch kind of live ones. One of my sons, when he was on holiday with his mum in America, went to see the I think it was in LA actually. He went to see a League of Legends kind of like live event a couple of years ago. He's big into League of Legends. So yeah, I quite enjoy watching that. I do kind of. I'm not very good at the game, but I understand enough to follow it and watch what's going on and know how the game's kind of swinging backwards and forwards, and when they need to go and take the Baron, and when's the time to kind of push the lanes and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not very good at it. John Essel says night shopping. Wow. Bit of chat. Tony's saying closest got to sport was watching the old 70s film Slapshot. I have watched. Is it called Goon or something like that? I think it is, with Sean William Scott in. I have seen that. Esports are getting pretty big. I'm surprised, mate. I'm surprised esports haven't got bigger actually through the whole lockdown and stuff, because it was the perfect opportunity to really push it a bit harder. I'm surprised things like kind of like live FIFA games and things like that haven't been like around when the Premier League was all shut down. I'm surprised we didn't see more of that. But yeah, I tell you what, it's going to be huge in the future. Anybody that thinks it's just video games and why would anybody want to watch it, I'll tell you what, they definitely don't understand the way it's changing. It is massive. Neil piloting esports a thing crazy. I tell you what, mate, it's massive when you see that. There's a really good documentary actually on BBC iPlayer at the moment about a British team in League of Legends, and that gives you just a rough idea of how serious it is as an esport now, about the training regimes and the money that's getting invested into it, and the kind of they have like dietitians, and they have like sort of mental, what they called, like sort of like mental training, sort of mental strength training and stuff like that. It's unbelievable. The problem is that the majority of the people that are playing these things are still just kind of like young people. They're still developing in life, really. And so what happens is that, like, knowing how to deal with the ups and downs and the mental stresses and strains and stuff is still they're still learning, and unfortunately that's a bit of a shame, because I tell you what it is, it's growing faster, I think, than people realise. Barry saying Slapshot, the all-time classic. Marcus McFly guy, hello mate, how you doing? Tony says, I've not hit my ceiling for painting, but I hated being a competitive painter, so dialed it back. I've never ever entered into a painting competition. Yes, says online games are killing it slowly, sadly. Online games? Yeah, maybe with things like kind of Fortnite, that kind of stuff. It is a shame if that's the case. Lord Maiden says, maybe because of latency and such, the fighting games tournaments are kind of slowed down due to you need to have the input straight away, and it's best in person, not online. I think the thing with things like League of Legends and Counter-Strike and stuff, though, mate, is it's always been played online. Other than the big tournaments where they're in the same basic room, but like in order to get to them tournaments, it's all online gaming. So I don't think latency's been a huge issue for them. I mean, most of these professional outfits have some pretty swanky internet, I would imagine. Peter said, I was shocked to see a program on drone racing. Man, the earnings are crazy. The drone racing is unbelievable when they're wearing those kind of headsets. It's like actually being a pilot inside them. It's unbelievable, the reflexes that you need to fly one of those things like at those speeds. Right, let's paint these shields as well, and then we'll pick them up with a bronze or something afterwards, I think. Marcus is saying, I'm not a fan of esports only because I'd rather be playing than watching. I think a lot of people would rather be playing than watching, but then I guess that's not that dissimilar from kind of like watching real sport, like watching Premier League football. You could say, why do you sit and watch football when you could be out there kicking a ball around? So I just find it's huge. And the difference is like the level I can play at, I'm garbage basically for the amount of time I play. Like, I'm never going to be playing to any kind of competitive level, even just kind of online with people. So I just find it interesting to kind of watch a very highly competitive game. Sundered saying, I think a lot of people didn't realise how big the video gaming industry is, and the esports by extension money aspect itself is mind blowing. The money that is involved, mate, in in the esports stuff now is it's kind of scary. But I think it kind of flies under the radar. It's a little bit like, it's a bit like things like what I do. Like, it's like doing doing YouTube and stuff like that. I think like majority of people of my age or my generation, like certainly the people that I used to work with, they would never have dreamed in a million years that like somebody would leave work to go and do YouTube full time. Like, it's just like, and if you told anybody, they would just go like, are you mad? Just get a proper job. Like, and I think esports is dismissed in very much the same way, but by an older demographic, by an older generation who don't see the potential in it. It'll be huge in years to come. Luke said he did a painting competition once when he was young. He was really proud until I turned up and saw everything else and realised I was so average. Harsh lesson for a 12-year-old. Surge MMO says, whatever happened to Dreadfleet? I think that died pretty much the day it came out, mate. Barry says, the locker room banter in Slapshot is so realistic because the woman who wrote it had a brother who played. He hid a tape recorder in his locker and he used that to write a dialogue. That would definitely explain why it's so good. And Neil says, it's alright being average. Sometimes it's about being your best. Yeah, I think that it's... I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of... How can I put it? It's not really important. I don't want to dismiss it. If it's somebody's hobby and painting to a really high standard is what they like, and if you can't paint to a high standard but you want your stuff to be to a high standard and you pay a commission painter, then that's absolutely fine. There's nothing at all wrong with that. But I think when people who are not yet capable of painting to that standard, be that because they're brand new or they've never been shown how to do more advanced techniques or whatever it is, when those people beat themselves up about it and some people literally quit painting because they think they're not good enough, that's when it gets a little bit like, oh, that's a real shame. Nobody should ever feel kind of inadequate. I guess it's a bit different, like what Luke's saying there. Like if you enter a painting competition without fully understanding like the level, if you like, of just how good everybody else is going to be, that's a bit different. You are entering a competition. You're putting yourself out there to be judged. It's a bit different. But yeah, you can certainly excuse me. I think that might be the first time I've ever sneezed on a live stream. There you go. Marcus says, I would love to have the money to build a custom drone to enter the drone racing league. Like Andy said, a mini pilot racing looks fun. When they've got their headsets on and stuff like that, it's like it really is a kind of like a taste of like the future. That's how we'll be sending pilots into war in the future, wearing kit like that. They won't be in the planes, that's for sure. Right. Just painting all these little bits of fiddly little cannons and stuff. I'm just basically getting the basic bits of metallics on them. It's going to be washed over and I'll probably be highlighting them back up again as well, so I'm not really taking too much care on them. Born to lose, live to win says, better hit the maggot sack. Got a 5:30 start tomorrow. I need to get some pics of my latest 40k and AOS stuff on your Facebook page. Yeah, get it on, mate. Always nice to see people's work. Always lovely to see what people are working on. The best part about the Facebook group is the fact that it's not like dedicated to one particular game. So you don't just get like loads of 40k pictures or loads of Kings of War pictures or whatever the game is, or just Blood Bowl teams or something. Like this, like the Ace of Base challenge proved to me the other day, just the variety of stuff that people in the group are painting. It was awesome to see so many different stuff. So yeah, lovely to see what you've been painting, mate. And take care as well. Have a good day at work. Peter says it can be a huge difference. I watch from Dr. D from time to time, and when he gets paired with someone from, say, India, they alternate playing on each other's servers to keep lag even. Yeah, and I think it depends upon the game as well. If it's it obviously just it depends upon the game, I suppose. But like the professional stuff, like when they're doing scrims and stuff like that, they're definitely just like based in their gaming house type things and doing it that way. Oh, my nose is running now. That looks like it should be metal, doesn't it? I think we'll paint that one metal. I thought it was wood at first, but it looks like it's kind of like battered metals. So we'll get a first coat on it, give it a wash, and then come back and do it again. I'm saying bless you. Yes, thank you very much. The virus strikes. No, I think it's just a tickle. It was just a tickle, mate. Just something was up my nose. I think a bit of dust or something. It's probably like I said. I've been doing a little bit of work outside tonight, so it's probably that. So because I'm a lover of smoking cigars, I decided I wanted somewhere where during the winter, during lockdown and all that kind of stuff, I could have somewhere where I can smoke them, because it is absolutely freezing outside. So I don't want to be just kind of like standing out in the garden. And because of the way our garden is, it's because we're on the side of a farm. It's wide open across the garden, so when it gets windy, it's like a wind tunnel in our garden. So yeah, standing outside in the freezing cold in the wind is not very conducive with smoking a nice relaxing cigar. So what I did at the weekend, as part of a million other jobs I was doing, was I emptied out our garden shed, completely cleared it out, kind of put racking up in the garage and stuff, and all of the stuff that was, all the tools and things that were in the shed, all got sorted into the garage. And I've made myself like a little kind of like a little smoking den, like a little shed thing. And so I've been doing a bit of work in there. I'm not going to connect it to kind of like electric and stuff, because it's not going to get used that often. So I bought some solar powered lights. So I've been fitting them. They work absolutely great. I was really impressed with just how bright they were actually. And I've actually put I cut the garage door in I cut the shed door in half as well, and made it like a stable door or a Dutch style door. So it means that when I'm kind of sitting in there, I can close the bottom half to stop kind of like drafts and things coming through, but keep the top half open so there's a bit of airflow as well to kind of get rid of the smoke and things. So yeah, I was outside finishing that off tonight, just before dinner. My God, it was chilly out there. But yeah, I bought like a little camping heater, like a little camping, so it can be nice, a bit warmer. Just get, excuse me, I have to get a bit of kitchen towel to wipe my nose. Excuse me. I don't think you get corona sneezes. I'm just reading there. You don't get corona sneezes, do you? I think it's coughs, isn't it? You don't think you get a runny nose. John says the scenes I saw in the changing rooms after rugby game, even at my low level, would need to be censored. Yeah, I can imagine. Dirk saying probably infected by his boy. Yeah, no, not. He's absolutely kicking flying he is. Lord Maiden says, I agree with your painting thing. I just wish there was more people seeing you do it for you. You do you for it, and it'll be great, because yours don't worry about anybody else. Are people really quite sort of like funny about it? I never see it online, but maybe it's because I don't spend a lot of time in other people's groups. So I think in our group, obviously, it's a lot more accepting of that kind of way of thinking. I'm not really like a member of the big 40k groups or anything like that, or the big sort of like the big groups where I think that would be a bit of a problem. So yeah, I'm probably a bit blind to it all. It's like somebody was telling me the other day, like it had all kicked off online about AOS and the new FAQ and stuff, and like, oh, like Twitter's an absolute mess. It's everybody ranting and raving about AOS and about the FAQ, and I hadn't seen any of it. I obviously don't follow those people to see it, and my Twitter's kind of like a nice peaceful place, because I tend, if there's somebody posting stuff that I follow that is like quite nasty or anything like that, or it's like causing a load of drama, I tend to just unfollow them. Like I don't really need to kind of be reading that every time I kind of have a look at, when I want to see like what people are up to and things. So I think I'm kind of like oblivious to a lot of the nastier stuff, because we have such a friendly community, and because I've kind of like censored out the other stuff. Right. It's as good as it's going to be for now. Where was I up to? Mark's saying, okay, back to simple green for his Knights of Shrouds. Nice one, mate. That's good. That's good simple green for cleaning stuff. Deep red saying, sometimes wonder if people feel intimidated by the photographs. Yeah, just what I was saying before, mate. I think sometimes people can feel intimidated, but I think it's like anything, I guess. Like people, like in life, people feel intimidated because somebody's got a nicer car than them or something like that. It's just about being comfortable with your own ability, and if you're happy, that's all that matters. Peter, I think it's nice to admire the top level of painted minis. Never worry, I can't replicate. Yeah, I think I'm old. I'm old now, and I know that I haven't got to worry about it, because you know what is, even if I could paint that good, like what would it change for me personally? Like somebody once told me like it's really hard to be good at one thing, and life's too short to try and be good at lots of different things. So kind of pick and choose what you want to be good at, basically. I thought that was quite a good quote. Like, what do you really want to dedicate your time to? Because you'll never be good at everything, and actually, it's unlikely that you'll be good at multiple things. So where do you really want to spend your time and effort? Luke says, I do love a good cigar. Yeah, me too, mate. I find that just nice, quiet, peaceful. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I've never been interested in smoking cigarettes. I've never tried like what they call like vapes or anything like that. Just never interested me. But with cigars, it's just the flavour and the fact that you need to set aside like an hour just to kind of sit and smoke it, and sit with a nice cup of coffee or a whiskey and just relax, let the world pass by kind of thing. I find it really quite zen. So yeah, so that's obviously we're all climbing over each other in the same house all the time. It's nice. Just I've now got a little shed to escape to and have a cheeky cigar on a weekend or something like that, and kind of have a little bit of like zone myself off a bit. Oops, sorry. Peter, I think I'm on my 26th year of painting now. Man, I feel old. Yeah, I've certainly not been painting as long as you, mate. I was a late starter, I think, when it came to miniatures. Right, I am literally just going to bathe this in Agrax now and let it. Obviously, don't let it pool up too heavily, but I'm just washing it back really. Just put it on and move it around. Busey said a smoking special live stream from the cigar shed. I'll tell you what I'll do, folks. I'll take some pictures for you so you can see it. See my handiwork with my barn door that I've done. I had to get some like I think they're called T hinges or T bracket hinges. So I obviously had to replace the hinges on the shed door, so that I could put like 4 hinges on instead of 2, and I couldn't get another 2 exactly the same as what was on, so I had to buy 4 hinges for the door. So I had to fit the hinges and fit the door back on. Then I had to cut it in half at the right height and all that kind of stuff. I've really enjoyed it, actually. Just been a nice kind of change of pace. So I've got a couple of old garden chairs that I've kind of put in there that we're in the process of replacing for our garden. So I've got a couple of like sort of, you know, like outdoor plastic wicker chair type things. I've put a couple of them in there because you don't want any kind of sort of like soft furnishings that will absorb smoke and smell and stuff like that. So yeah, so I've got them in there. I've got a nice little kind of wooden crate that I've used to make it into a coffee table. I've got my little solar panel lights. I was fitting the solar panel to the side of the shed and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a nice little zen place. But yeah, I'll once I've sorted it, I'll get some pictures and I'll show you, or I'll do a little video on my phone and show you all. Yeah, because my brother-in-law as well, he likes it. I think I kind of sort of converted him to trying a cigar when we went on holiday to Spain one year, because I used to sit outside on a night time and have a cigar, and like sort of when we're sitting having a drink and stuff, and he went like, oh, let me have a try of that and stuff. Now he likes a bit of a cigar now and again as well. So what used to happen was when we spent some time together in the summer and that, we used to obviously sit outside and have a bottle of wine or have a whiskey and sit and have a cigar and things. But yeah, I hardly smoke any, just purely because I live in the northeast of England. It's flipping wet. It blows a gale. Obviously, you don't want to smoke in the house and stink everybody out. So yeah, I'm lucky if I have sort of like 2 or 3 cigars a year, really. But all this lockdown and not travelling with work and all that anymore and stuff, it's quite nice to have like a little shed just to disappear to. And I do have like a nice humidor and stuff, and a nice collection of cigars and some nice aged ones and things that I've bought over the years. So yeah, like a little kind of, it's like a little hobby in itself, really, to be fair. Something away from miniatures and things. Peter says the only thing that is unacceptable regarding painting minis when you don't enjoy it. Yes. Warwick says there can be a lot of bullying in regards to painting of minis. I don't think it's super common, especially since some games have built-in rules for painted armies, but it can happen. There's quite a few games that still have like no painting requirements as well, though, isn't there? Marcus is saying, I think everyone here will agree we just here to hang out and share cool stuff. Yeah, I mean, the fact that people, what we got now, we got like 50 people in the chat tonight. It's been up at about 60 at one point. The fact that everybody's kind of hanging out, I'm not, God, I'm making a right mess on there. I'm not teaching anybody about painting with like what I'm doing here, slapping washes onto base coats. This is not like teaching anybody. Or maybe I could phrase it a different way. I hope it is teaching people. It's teaching people that you don't always have to kind of like, you don't always have to go the extra mile. You don't always have to sort of like paint to the absolute best. There's plenty of really good painters out there. People like sort of Miniac and people like Squidmore and all that kind of stuff. Like if you want to see really good painting, there's plenty of people out there. But hopefully, like the folks that come and see this just want to hang out. They just it's not like, and hopefully by me not like sort of being able to like to be comfortable enough to do this kind of stuff on a live stream where I'm not worried about what people think, and I'm not worried, like as long as I'm happy with the finish, that's all that counts, kind of thing. Hopefully that just gives other people a little bit of confidence to say, you know what, actually I'm quite happy with a base coat and a wash. There's nothing wrong with it. So yeah, hopefully that's the case. If it makes one person just feel a little bit more comfortable about like sort of about painting, then that's been a real bonus for me. I'm catching up. Peter Kuhlman says, right off the bed, good night. Dreadfeet is alive. Good night, mate. Take care. Marcus is saying, and bacon. Well, cigars and bacon. Nice, yeah. Kath says, I shared my first attempt at painting. I love doing it, but it ain't perfect. Do you know what it is, Kath? There is not one person on this planet who would paint something and say, that's perfect. You can get people who've won multiple painting awards and they still won't be happy with it. People just, like, you always try to do more. I think you always expect more. And I think like perfection just doesn't exist, because you might think it's perfect or somebody else might think it's perfect, but it doesn't matter. As long as you enjoyed the process, as long as you were happy with it, that's exactly what matters. Like you can paint the best mini in the world, but if you didn't like the best paint job in the world, but if you didn't enjoy it, then why did you do it? It's a hobby. Like, there's plenty of stuff that we have to do in this world, like that we have to do purely because that's just like we have to pay the bills. We have to go to work to earn money to pay the bills, all that kind of stuff. There's plenty of things we have to do. Hobbies is not one of those things. Your hobby is not something you have to do. Your hobby should be the one thing in your life that you choose to do because it brings you enjoyment. So anybody that feels pressure for it definitely should reassess it. Cigars, bacon and booze. Nice one. Cass says, I'm 42 and started 2 weeks ago. I would never have asked you your age, Kath. A gentleman never asks a lady her age. But yeah, I didn't start until my 30s and stuff like that, and then I had a break as well. So I've not really been painting that long. Like when I started this YouTube channel like 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, was really when I come back into the hobby after like a long break, and even before that, when I wasn't it the first time, I was probably only playing for maybe about 3 or 4 years. So I'm still relatively new, like, to this all myself. Really, I wouldn't consider myself like an expert or anything like that. I wouldn't consider myself like an old hand. Like when people talking about, oh, like I remember when Rogue Trader came out, and I remember playing 2nd edition fantasy and this, that, and the other. That all passes me by. I don't remember Necromunda. I don't remember Mordheim. I don't remember games like Man of War. I don't remember like the Dark City or Dark Future, where it was called, the racing game. Like that was all well before my time. I'm not somebody that's kind of like an expert in anything really. I'm passionate about the things that I like really, and and I have opinions. So yeah, like nobody should ever feel like that they don't know enough to talk about the hobby. If it's something they enjoy, then I encourage them to talk about it and tell me what you enjoy, because that's all that matters. Tell me what bits of the hobby you enjoy. Tell me how much you enjoyed painting the mini. Tell me which games you're looking forward to. Tell me which ones you don't like playing, because it doesn't matter how long you've been playing or how long you've been in and around this hobby. Your opinions and your thoughts are just as valid as anybody else's, because they're personal to you. They're what you think. So yeah. Let's have a look. Kirsten, good evening, Kirsten. How are you doing, my friend? Nice to see you in. I hope you're keeping well. I'm assuming you folks at Mantic are particularly busy at the moment. I saw that they were advertising for some kind of part-time staff just to help out with warehousing and resin and stuff like that. That can only be a good thing. Cassia started both 2 weeks ago. Awesome. Hobbying and painting. And I hope you're enjoying it, because there'll be some aspects of things you won't enjoy, and there'll be some things you do enjoy, and that's where it's all about. You're at that exciting stage now where you just get to try everything and find out the bits that you like. Peter Cooman says, see you later, guys. See you later. Andy Smith says, I'm 21 and started with the original Space Hulk. 21, God. 21 was a long time ago for me, mate. Well, I'll just jump off the top of my screen there. Luke says, if we ever get together to meet up, I shall make sure I bring along a couple of good cigars. 100%, mate. I will return the favour as well. I think it's nice. It's nice to kind of to find out what people's other hobbies are as well, like, and kind of like, you know, what else are people into? Like, do people have other hobbies, or is the like sort of miniature gaming or miniature painting or whatever is that your one and only hobby? I find that these days, especially because this is what I do for a living now, as much as I absolutely love it and I've not lost any passion for it, I find that I look for other things to do like in my spare time as well. So I still enjoy painting and stuff. Like I still sit and I still want to play games, and I still sit and watch YouTube videos and find out more about what's going on and things. But I'm actively trying to find other things as well that I'm interested in, just so that I don't basically, like, over a period of years, I'm sure that I'll sicken myself of it if that's literally all I ever talk about and all I ever do. So yeah, that's why, like, I look like whiskies. I've said before on the live streams and stuff. Years ago, I used to be a wine taster. That was my job, and I had all sorts of like training and stuff to kind of develop my palate and things. And that was where I kind of fell in love with like whiskies and cigars and things like that. All the things that just have so many different flavor profiles and sort of tastes, and being able to understand them. And I find a lot of similarities between things like wine and whiskies and cigars and stuff, with sort of, you know, like they're grown like natural plants and stuff, and depending upon where they're grown and how they're grown and how they're harvested and how they're matured, all changes the taste profile and stuff. So I just find it fascinating, really. It's just as I've got older, I suppose my own personal tastes palette has kind of matured as well, and now things I didn't like when I was younger I now enjoy. So yeah, it's nice to have something different. Peter says, painting is a part of the hobby I'm least bothered about, as it happens. It was the part of the hobby that I got into first, because I literally did it as basically as something to relax after work, to sit and paint and take my mind off everything else, kind of thing. And I still find painting very much a kind of like a therapeutic, relaxing thing. I never get stressed about painting. I never feel like I'm kind of like I'm not good enough or anything like that, kind of thing. But I have struggled with knowing when to stop, trying to be better, sort of trying to push myself to be better all the time and stuff. And then eventually I just basically found what made me happy, basically. But yeah, for me, the building of the models is the bit I enjoy the least. I don't enjoy the building. I'm not into kit bashing. I'm not into I like stuff like this, because it doesn't come in like a million different pieces, is right up my street. There's not 25 different options that I have to worry about. Single piece minis, I love it when I can just open up a box and everything's in there, and I've just got to put it on a table and play it. But I can paint it, obviously. So those kind of things, obviously, like sit well with me, because I just don't enjoy the painting side. I don't enjoy the building side of it. I know lots of people do, and I'm not on it, obviously. That's just not the bit that I enjoy the most. Right, that's had a good bath. Let's leave that to dry for a bit. How are we doing for time? 10:30. Right, I think what we'll do, folks, I'll wash my brush out, I'll top up my whiskey glass, and we'll have a little bit of a chat for a while, because I think that those washes are going to take a little bit to dry anyway. So let me just wash my brushes out. You might as well see it on camera for a change. So that's obviously, I clean this out, that's just dirty because I've just been washing my brush around it. And then I'm just cleaning off a cheap brush there. So this one I think it was like in like a sort of just a craft sort of pack of loads of brushes. I use it for taking paint out of the pots. I use it for washes and things like that as well. I used it tonight, I think, for just putting a massive big base coat down. So right, let that one sit. Right, let's get back to the main screen. I'll just clean out the soap here. Scott saying, I think I need sleep. Take it easy. Yes, mate. Take care, buddy. Catch you later. Tasty Brain says, I'm 46 and still haven't started painting yet. but I'm planning on changing that soon. I didn't realise you don't do any painting, mate. Mark says, I love Space Hulk, super fun. I've got it, and I can honestly say I think I've played it maybe once. Maybe one day I'll pull it out again. Right, get my lid from my wet palette. And put the little band around it. Oh, excuse me. Christian sharing the link for Teespring there as well. Thank you very much, sir. What was I just going to do? That's what I was going to do. I was going to pour some whiskey. Where are we up to? Stan Richardson, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Nice to see you in, sir. Busey says, maybe a fire extinguisher needed in there just in case. Yes, mate. Might not be a bad shout. Might not be a bad shout. Tony says, I have a wide variety of experience, but no matter how new you are to the hobby, don't worry, your painting is good enough. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Enjoy sharing. Honestly, like, I love nothing better than just talking hobby with people. Like, ask questions. Like, nobody knows it all. Like, no matter how long you've been in the hobby, you'll have questions. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask it if you eat, whether you're new or you're not. Small says, I don't care what everyone else thinks. I'm happy if I play a game with painted minis and they look good from a certain distance. That's good enough. Exactly, mate. And I think it does come with age as well. You do come to a point where you just definitely care less what other people think. Lobin said, rather hang out and talk about anything and relax with like-minded people. That's part of what I love about live streams, mate. Part of the reason I do them all the time. Dirk says, stop painting over an hour ago, just sitting here hanging out and listening to Andy's soothing voice. I wouldn't say I had a soothing voice, mate, but unless I've sent you all to sleep, that might be it. Cheers, folks, by the way. Peter says, I agree. I used to have painted minis in a game. I do it to have painted in minis game, not trying to impress anyone. If my opponent has unfinished, unpainted minis, that's their choice. Exactly. Tony said, I've just been chilling tonight and chatting, no hobbying, just happy to spend. I love that folks feel like they can do that as well. It's nice just to kind of hang out and just have a bit of a natter. We've talked about all sorts of random stuff tonight. Sundered Sykes says, and a lady never asks a gentleman his shoe size. God, my beard's a right mess, isn't it? It needs to, I'm growing it out, but it's absolute mess at the moment. I apologise for looking like a tramp. Bliss says, that's why I started posting my stuff on Instagram to try and show people it was okay to not be a good painter and still post and just paint and not worry about it. Yeah, exactly, mate. Beauty said, I plan on getting some painting done this weekend. Going to be locked in from 3 PM Friday until 6 AM Monday due to new restrictions. Really, mate? Is it picking up where you are again as well? Peter said, cigars, bacon and booze. Hold the cigars. Definitely hold them, mate, or you'll burn yourself. I'm size 7 extra wide if anyone's interested. Scott said he's more crusher tonight as the first minis painted since about 1998. Love it, and I got a nice pile of shame to paint. Pile of opportunity, mate, not pile of shame. Marcus says, I just found a piece of green stuff. It's full of cat hair and ruined. Kirsten just said something about casting more. Where was it? There it was. Busy casting Armada again. I assume are you getting ready for a dwarf's ready to go now? Is it the Empire of Dust? Is that what you're doing? Andy Smith says, mate, I'm 50 today. Happy birthday, Andy Smith. Many happy returns, sir. Scott says 21 even longer for me. Everyone's saying happy to Andy. Casper says our other hobbies are snakes, geckos, tarantulas and RC cars. I saw the RC car stuff that you'd been posting. That looked really good. I'm not a huge animal lover, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm not an animal hater. Like, I'm not against them or anything, but I don't have any pets or anything like that. I think that maybe that's why I never really grew up with any pets either. So I wonder if that's why animals are not my thing. But yeah, snakes, geckos and tarantulas. My little boy would love it. He likes animals. He's a big animal lover. Christian's got corn snakes. I remember that now. You tell me that, mate. Yoakum says downhill mountain biking is my second hobby, and hiking is my third. Lord Maiden says, do you have a wine recommendation for someone who can taste alcohol easily? I guess it depends. It's really hard. Like, if people say, "Can you recommend like a wine?" It's really hard because when I was doing the wine tasting stuff and all of the different like sort of things, I must have tasted about, if I remember right now, I probably tasted in the region of about 150 to 200 different wines over the period of the 2 different courses that I did, and everything from like $5.99 a bottle up to like sort of like £300-400 a bottle. And the one thing that I learned through that whole thing was that, one, wine tasting is full of snobs and people who like think they know better than everybody else, and two, the best wine is the one you like the taste of. It doesn't matter whether it costs a £5 a bottle or whether it costs 500 quid a bottle. The one you like the taste of. And I find the same thing with whiskey as well. Like it's just the one you like the taste of. The price is irrelevant really. So it's hard to kind of give a recommendation. You kind of want to go with something light. You certainly don't want to go with like a really like heavy red wine or something like that. But I don't know whether you prefer red wines or white wines and stuff. So if you don't like the taste of alcohol, you certainly want to go with something that's much lighter, much fruitier. Something like, what would I recommend? Try a white Zinfandel. A white Zinfandel is kind of like pinky in colour, but it's got quite a lot of fruit flavour to it, and it's quite light. You tend to get a really nice Californian white Zinfandel. Try that. Scott's saying motorbikes, scooters and guitars are my other hobbies. I used to be into motorbikes when I was young, guys. I sold my motorbike when the twins were first born. But I do now. I don't have a car because I had a company car when I had my last job, and I didn't think I'd need a car that often. So I don't have a car now. My wife's still got a company car. But I had thought about getting like, so if the idea was that before lockdown was a thing and stuff, she would be like working during the day. I'd walk, take my little one to nursery, and then I'd have the day to myself to work. But then I was thinking like I wouldn't mind getting like a scooter or something just for like nipping about if I've got to nip to the shops to get some bits and pieces and stuff like that, or just running out to pick up some supplies like bits of paint and things like that during the day. I could quite fancy a scooter. Marcus says, I have just so many hobbies that most people have a hard time figuring out where I find the time to do it all. And up until COVID, I had a job as well. Tony says he loves... Tony, I love seeing your cooking posts. Luke's as well. Luke Pryor, he always sharing his cooking posts as well. I'm an awful cook. It's just something I've never really enjoyed. When I lived on my own, like... I never really cooked much for myself. It was like ready meals most of the time. I never got any enjoyment from cooking for myself. And I'm just, I can follow a recipe, but I'm not like, I don't really know what I'm doing in a kitchen, if I'm honest. He loves cooking, not a pro, just home cooker, cooks with love music and a very eclectic taste. I've been getting a bit of country music recently. Talking about eclectic tastes. Christian sharing the link for Amazon. Thank you very much, mate. Peter says motorcycling I consider more lifestyle than hobby. I do miss it. Yeah, I suppose now would be the perfect time to get out. The roads are quiet and everything else, isn't it? But unfortunately, it's all about the essential travel stuff, isn't it? Scott likes messing about with bikes as well. Marcus is saying here in the States, motorcycling is definitely considered a lifestyle. I would, if we had the roads for it, I would love like a proper like Harley and just go kind of cruising around. I used to always ride sports bikes and stuff, and I've kind of travelled around. I've travelled to Essen to go and see superbike racing, and on my bike like over on the ferry and stuff. And I've travelled down to what's it called again? I forget what the name of it now. Where they used to have the big music festival. There's a motorbike track down there. I forget what it's called now, but yeah, I've travelled to see the kind of like British superbikes and world superbikes and stuff like that. God, that name's just disappeared from my head. Castle, so Donington Castle. That's where Donington. That's where we went down there. Yeah. Kath's saying she's got kings, milks, rosy boas, and Asian rat snakes. Wow, that sounds all of that went over my head, but I'm sure it's a good mix of different bits. Marcus is saying his city is up to a few years ago had the largest Harley Davidson dealer in store. yeah, I think now I've kind of got a bit older and stuff. I'd quite like a Holly. I can't afford one, but I'd like one. Tony says he loves drawing as well, or used to love drawing, but very rusty. Hasn't done anything in 30 years. Kat says I have a bottle of Lafroig on the go. I've just gone with a bit of monkey shoulder tonight. I'm a big fan of Speyside whiskies, and I did buy myself a bottle of Woodford Reserve the other day. I've never really drank much in the way of bourbons or bourbon. It is bourbon, isn't it? Not bourbons. Bourbons are definitely biscuits. I've never really drinking much in the way of bourbons, but I thought I'd try some. So, Tizzy Brain Drain says, well, for the most part, I'm new to minis gaming, so that's why I've yet to paint. Okay, mate. Well, all I would say is don't be put off by it. You don't need to spend a fortune. You don't need to go and get a million different paints. One of those little starter sets that have about like 10 different paints in or something like that is more than enough. But do not be put off by it. Give it a go. What if the absolute worst happens and it looks awful and you hate it? You can always strip the paint back off it again and just put it back the way it was. So never worry about that kind of stuff. Scott said I never said I was talented. Where are we up to here? Scott said he's got a metal pile of shame in the garage as well as some plastic. You don't want to see the crap I've got lying about, mate. Stan says just love talking hobby. Just had 2-hour call with 3 mates talking Warhammer Fantasy. Was just nice talking about the game since we can't play. I get just as much enjoyment, mate, from rabbiting about hobby and painting and just things like this. Just sitting with like-minded people having a nut. I love it. Logan's is the sexiest jump I've ever seen. I haven't got my autofocus on. I've got it locked out at the minute. But it is just, I mean, you can kind of, it's definitely filling out. It's getting more grey in it. But when it's at this stage, it kind of grows like that. And I have to keep combing it down and waxing it down and stuff to try and just get it to grow in one direction for a while. But I think I've not done anything with it since probably Christmas. So this is kind of like about a month's kind of going wild. I've trimmed a couple of loose hairs across my moustache bit, and I've kind of tidied up a little bit on my cheeks where it gets kind of patchy up here, which is why my beard's always quite kind of low around here. Around here it doesn't really grow very well, so yeah. Anyway, that's enough beard chat. Kirsten says Dwarf Ships and restocks are the first. Oh, of course, restocks. I'm forgetting about that as well. Of course it is. Ed Handley says, evening all, just dropping in for a bit while I set up Roll20 for tomorrow's D&D session. Nice to see you, mate. Kirsten says, I've only once had a waiter pour out some wine for me to test at a restaurant. I swirled it around properly, sniffed, sipped, all that, and then looked at him and said, yep, that's definitely wine. Do you know, I mean, there is a reason that you do it. Less so these days. So the reason that you would do that is really to test to see if the wine's been corked. Because essentially it is like whiskey's got a cork in here. If the cork hasn't been sealed in properly when they first do it, and what they do is, interestingly, when they put, I'm getting into all my old work chat now. When they fill it with wine, not whiskey, when they fill it with wine, they then inject nitrogen into the top of the bottle. So the bit that's got no wine in it, they inject nitrogen in because it doesn't oxidize the wine, and then they basically force the cork in and put the capsule on it. But if the cork hasn't sealed properly, or if they haven't put the nitrogen in and it's got air in the top, it basically kind of eats away at the cork, and basically the cork taints the taste of the wine. So that's what you're kind of testing for, really, before you pour yourself a big glass. It's to kind of make sure it's not corked, really. The thing is, these days, most wines got like a screw top on the cap, which stops that happening. You'll never get a problem with a screw cap on it. It's actually better for the wine. But people, snobs, still think that good wine comes with a cork and bad wine comes with a screw cap. That's all lies. Nothing to do with that. But so there is a technical reason why you do that. But some people do get very kind of like holding it up to the light, looking at the colour of it. And I used to have to do all that kind of stuff. That was my job, to be that prat. Lord Maiden says, thanks Andy. I never know these things as there's lots of choices. Do you know what it is? If you go to like a supermarket, like not even like a proper like a Vintner's, not even a proper like wine shop. If you go to the supermarket and you see how many different bottles of wine there are, like 99% of people will either just buy the one bottle that they liked last time, or they'll look and see what's on offer and buy a cheap one. It's designed to be confusing, because like that's how that market is. It's designed to be intimidating, and it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It's like you don't have that many choices of like tins of beans, do you? You don't have that many different choices of milk. It only happens with that kind of stuff. But yeah, and because you like, let's be fair, like it's not cheap if you like. If you're buying like a bottle of wine, you're paying like £8, £9, £10. You don't want to get one and then think, oh, that's awful, I don't like it. And that's the problem, I think. And it's the same with things like whiskies. It's the same with things like cigars. There's so many different tastes and flavors that it's expensive to try them all and find the one that you like. I was really lucky when it came to wine that because it was my job, I got to taste all these different things, and I got to build up like a profile of the things that I really liked and the things that I didn't care for. Like somebody went like years and years ago, actually 15 years ago, when I was 30, somebody bought me. I was working for the wine company at the time, and somebody bought me a bottle of champagne for my 30th birthday, and it was like a vintage champagne. And it was awful. It was absolutely awful. It tasted just really oaky and really old and musty. But that's how it was meant to taste, apparently. And I didn't like it. I'd rather have had a $5.99 bottle of Prosecco. Thanks very much. Sunded says, I paint, play piano, and write. Now I've started running a D&D game too. Nice one. Luke says, I think most people are sick of my cooking posts. They always make me hungry, mate. Every time I see them. Christian says, I enjoy cooking, especially spicy food. I didn't realise that you kind of liked spicy stuff, mate. He says, I've also discovered my love for bringing people together to tell a story with D&D. You do a great job of it, mate. Kirsten says, the Isle of Man is my only place to be for motorbikes. Yeah, I've never been to the Isle of Man, TT. Kath says, if you're into a bit of county... check out Dead South, Canadian bluegrass with a black sense of humour. I will check that out, actually. I've got like Amazon Music like on my phone kind of thing, and I've literally just been putting on like country channels and just like streaming different country songs. I don't even really know who half of the singers are, but there's a few kind of songs. I like the humour in it as well. Like there was one I was listening to the other day, and I forget what it was called, but it was essentially like the story was this guy was really poor. He started working in like a Cadillac factory. And he was stealing pieces of the car basically in his lunchbox to basically take home and build himself a Cadillac, and that was what the song was about. It was really funny, but it was a really good song. Scott says, had super bikes, crosses, supermoto, street fighters, and now onto my second Harley, a little one, 750 street rod. I started off on a 400. It was a Yamaha FZR 400RR, which was a Japanese import, like little sports bike. That was what I started on, and then I moved up to I had a Thundercat, which was a 600 Yamaha, and then I got an R6 after that, and then I sold them basically. My friends had like Kawasaki's and like Honda CBRs and all that kind of stuff. I'd always quite fancied a Ducati back then, but I didn't have Ducati money, unfortunately. What are we up to here? Stancy went on a wine tasting day while in the US. The rest of the party were doing taste and spit. I did it properly and it was smashed by the third vineyard. Yeah, that was the thing. When I was doing it at work, I used to have to kind of obviously spit it out as well. Otherwise, I'd have been I wouldn't be driving home at the end of the day. That was for sure. Small says, going to get some sleep. See you later, guys. Thank you very much, Small. Take care. Busey says, I used to go to the bike show at Birmingham NEC with Dad. Lovely models there, bikes as well. I've never been to like a motorbike show. We used to, like in Newcastle, there's a Westgate Road. There's a big street in Newcastle which is full of motorbike shops, and like on a Saturday in the summer, it used to just be lined with people on their bikes coming and having a look around and stuff like that. That was kind of like our little motorbike show where we used to go to. Kirsten's from the Isle of Man. I didn't know that. Sunday said, if you're going to get a motorbike, go British and get a Triumph. I have a Triumph Speedmaster. Tasty Brain Drink says, Monkey Shoulder. I've been wanting to try that. Monkey Shoulder is a really good, affordable, because it's not very expensive, blended whiskey. So it's blended, and I'm going to give you the thing now. It's basically It's blended in small batches with 3 fine Speyside single malts. And like they're all good single malt whiskies that they blend together for it. But the name Monkey Shoulder comes from when the guys were used to kind of like turning over the malt with the shovel, because they were constantly doing it all day, and obviously there's a lot of strain on one side. They would end up like kind of a bit lopsided because their arms were aching and their shoulders were aching, and they would call it Monkey Shoulder, and that's where the name comes from. Dead south. I'll have to check that out. Ed Hanley says, have you tried the Aberlour Speysides? Do you know what it is, mate? I've got a bottle downstairs that Paul Welch bought me as a gift when he came up for the weekend, and we kind of had a game of Walking Dead and stuff here, and he came up and stayed overnight, and he brought me a bottle of that, and I haven't opened it yet. Triumph Scrape Bikes. Kirsten saying, I know I used to be a bar license holder. I just couldn't miss an opportunity like that. Yes. Wow. Blizzard said, I thought bad wine came in a box with a spigot. Do you know what it is, mate? Good wine comes in a box as well. So another reason why wine in a box is underrated is because when they fill the bags up, they basically obviously do the same thing, squirt the nitrogen in, seal it in, the little tap goes into it, and then basically when you're pouring it out, the air doesn't get inside that bag. The bag actually collapses inside as you're pouring it out. It doesn't oxidize either. It doesn't lose its taste. That's why they can last for a while. It's another snob thing as well. People turn their nose up at boxed wines. There are some really, really good boxed wines. And they were originally produced for pubs. So if you ever go to a pub and you can get wine on the tap, that we used to make them in big 10-litre boxes for pubs basically originally. And that was why it was, because they keep their freshness for a long, long time. And then eventually it started to be like, we'd do these like 3-litre boxes for in supermarkets and stuff. They fit in the fridge door and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think it's another thing, people turn their nose up at them. They kind of get snobby about them, but you get some really nice wine in boxes. Kat said, I've made white wine from mate's vine. It tasted fab. I've never done any wine making or anything like that before. Martin says, the only time I go and eat alcohol is for cooking, since I don't drink. I'm not like one for like having like kind of big nights out and stuff like that. I used to when I was younger and stuff. Apart from lockdown and stuff, but I very rarely kind of go out. I like when things were not normal, I probably went to the pub maybe once a month maximum. Like just with my brother-in-law, we'd probably go and have maybe 3 or 4 pints or something like that. So I don't really, I was never really one for going out, but I do like a glass of wine at home, or I'm starting to kind of, because it's less fattening, I'm starting to enjoy my whiskies again. The best one comes in a box, yeah. Busy said, I worked in a wine rack off license. They sent me on a wine tasting course. Can't remember most of it. Some stuff about legs and tannins. Yes, legs. If you pour up the glass like that, and when you put it back down, if you can still see the alcohol, which I can see, you won't see it with that, but you can still see the alcohol running down the side of the glass, that's called legs basically. And the stronger the alcohol, the longer that will take for that to kind of run down the side of the glass. And tannins are basically what you taste in red wine and stuff like that, like when you can kind of feel it on your tongue. John says, what's a good wine to accompany paint water? I was trying to think of something witty there, mate, but just anything to wash the taste out, I would say. Something strong. Probably something like Thunderbird fortified wine. Ed says, role play, runs, cycle, and dad. I used to be seriously into full contact martial arts, but I got dumped on my head on judo practice. Oof, then was in a car accident, so my neck won't take it. I can imagine, mate. Luke says, just got to finish the boxes and computer screens, but the Aliens, Marines, and Ripley power load are done. Nice one, mate. ASDS heading off to bed as well. Thanks for another fun night. Thank you very much, mate. Christian says, live streams soon to be sponsored by Monkey Shoulder. I wish, mate. I tell you what, I'd happily just sit there and do this every week for a free bottle of whiskey. Stan says, One Piece at a Time by Johnny Cash. Is that what it is, mate? That was the song. YouTube, Big Red and Grinners, Jarrow-based band, do all the rock classics in bluegrass. I'll have to check them, mate. Yeah, I didn't even look at the name of the song. I didn't even look to see who was singing it. It was literally playing on my phone, like while I was sitting doing some. I think it was when I was finishing painting off the Malifaux stuff. I just had it on in the background. Marcus says I might not drink, but I love the names. Tasty Brain Drain says, cool, thanks for that bit of trivia. I love learning such things. I think the stories behind stuff are just as interesting sometimes. Like, there's just like it creates a picture. It's like me when I'm sitting painting miniatures. I'm kind of the backstory and stuff is quite important to me, and I find it really interesting. It can motivate me to want to do stuff, and things like kind of the stories and the I know a lot of it's marketing. Don't get me wrong, but like just those kind of old kind of like tales that come with it, I just find them interesting. Busey said, what about Grant's famous grouse and teachers? Are they the worst ones or okay? Again, flavours are subjective, mate, and it all depends what you want, what you like the taste of. Those ones you've mentioned tend to be what's called blended whiskies. So what they do is they take whiskies from kind of lots of different things and they blend them together to get a flavour profile. So what it means is like it's not like it's aged 18 years or something like that. So it means that they can mix stuff together to get a flavour. I personally, I'm not a fan of them, but they sell by their millions kind of thing. So enough people obviously do. I just find that I like something because I'm looking for flavors and stuff. You tend to find that there's something a bit more interesting with kind of things like single malts and stuff like that. They tend to just have a more complex flavor profile. If you just like it, if you just want to try it and stuff like that. The thing is, there's like Grants and stuff like that are probably like, I don't know, 10, 15 quid a bottle. Like if you're willing to pay like 20 quid, you can get like I think this is quite often on offer for about like 20 quid, 22 quid, something like that. And it's a far superior wine. It's a far superior whiskey. So yeah, it just depends. It might be up for about 18 quid, I think. Blizzard says, good to know. I really don't know much about alcohol except not to drink the stuff from the first aid kit. Yes. and don't drink the hand sanitizer. Cass says, I'm painting the Slanesh Combine Harvester. It definitely needs an alcoholic beverage. I bet it does. White Lightning, that's what you're on about, Beauty. White Lightning, God, yeah. White Lightning and Diamond White and that kind of stuff. Lowmains, I think mine is more miniature video and role-playing games. I do like reading and watching cartoons as well. John S. still saying, I like Grants, I prefer a single malt, but it's nice. I'm not a huge fan of like bells and stuff like that. But by the same stretch, I wouldn't go and spend like 50, 60 quid on a bottle of whiskey or something like that. Marcus says, I've never been a party guy even when I was younger, and the friends I had would give me more reasons to stay away from alcohol completely. I used to like a good night out, mate, like when I was young, I'll be honest, and going on holiday with my mates and stuff and having a bit of a boozy kind of week away and stuff, but these days it's like few and far between, even when we're not locked down. DAT Pro, live streams are great, sat listening while applying for an apprenticeship. Don't drink, so I'm not following, but still fun listen. Best of luck with the application, mate. Thank you very much for chatting, and yeah, best of luck with your application. Barry Kleiber, One Piece at a Time, awesome, hilarious, great song. Yeah, I'd never heard it before. I was just kind of sitting chuckling away to myself while I was listening to it, thinking like songs don't have stories anymore. Ed says, my favourite one of these was Saying Comes from the thing, cold enough to freeze the balls of a brass monkey. Yeah, it's like a brass monkey. Yeah. Vaughn would say blended whiskey is fine when it comes to mixing with Coke. Single malt neat though. Yeah, if you, that's the other thing I would say. If you're just wanting to kind of try stuff, like yeah, like in a cocktail is and mixing with Coke is still classed as a cocktail. But that's probably the easiest way to kind of just to try it so it doesn't overpower you. If you're not used to it, it's kind of like, oh, it's like shit. What's that kind of thing? Sundid Psych just joined the Patreon. I must have completely missed that. Thank you very much, mate. I really do appreciate that. Make sure you check out the Patreon as well, the Patreon Discord group as well. Where are we up to? Luke and I had 3 bottles of pretty strong cider the other night on a Zoom call with mates. I was 3 pots pissed by the time we finished. I have no tolerance anymore. I'm at the stage where I'm like, couple of whiskies, and that's as good as it gets, kind of thing. Mike G says, "Oh, I missed it, but showed up in time to give it a thumbs up." Thank you very much, mate. Christian says, "Don't forget to join that Roll20 game ready for tomorrow." Is it? Are we playing tomorrow, mate? I must admit, I've completely passed me by. I've completely mixed up my dates. Let me sort it out, mate. I will get sorted. Ed says, most I've ever spent on a bottle of whiskey was just shy of 80 quid for a bottle of Ardbeg Corrivecken, worth every penny. I don't think I've ever really tried any kind of expensive whiskies. Have I? No, I don't think I have really. Probably like about 40 or 50 quid, probably about and that's probably somebody else's that I've tried really. My wife did get me that Balvenie. It was a Balvenie 12, I think it was, for a gift when I went full time doing this, and I think that's probably about, is it about 40 quid, something like that. Tony said, "Don't drink spirits, so when someone offers me something nice, it's wasted. All I get is burn all the way down." I think most people do, mate, if they're not used to it. That's kind of, you taste the alcohol really. I think it's something that you either like or you don't like. I quite like that burn, that warm feeling you get in your throat. I quite like that one. Peter says 1 bottle we're pissed. Lord Maiden says yes we are. I've been miles away. I've completely missed it. Yes, it's just a character creation into a Roll20 session. Right, mate. Sorry, mate. I'll probably use my old character then. I'll carry on with the old one. Blizzard says no thumbs down this week. There's time, mate. There's time. I don't think we often get them on the Wednesday live streams, to be fair. Luke Stein was a vodka man back in the day. It's definitely something worth paying for, as cheap vodka is just paint thinner. But good vodka is so complex. It's funny, mate. I watched a YouTube video a little while ago where there was like a vodka expert was blind tasting vodkas. And I forget which one it was. I mean, it was an American video, so a lot of stuff he was testing was American stuff. And I forget which one that he really liked and said it was quite complex and it must have been expensive. And it actually came in a plastic bottle. It was like one of the really cheap ones, and he said, "God, I'm absolutely blown away. That is a really good, really nice vodka." I'll see if I can find it in my YouTube history, and I'll send it over to you, mate. I'll link it over, because it was like this proper super cheap. It was the kind of stuff where you think, actually, I might light a barbecue with that. But yeah, it was like a plastic jug or something. But the guy loved the taste of it. Tony says, "Gin's right out the smell makes me..." I hate gin, mate. My wife likes gin. She likes these kind of Whitley Neal flavoured, like rhubarb flavoured gin and stuff like that. I can't stand gin. It's really flowery. That floral thing just doesn't sit with me. Mike says, "I'm a gin drinker, but mostly because I think it's the awful dodgy drunk it." Luke says, always obsessed. Yeah, and I think that was what made it interesting. He was like picking things out, like which were, he could taste things, and he went, "Yeah, this is probably Smirnoff. It's kind of mass market. I know what that tastes like and things." But the one randomly the one that he picked and kind of really liked was potentially one of the cheapest or something like that, and I just found that interesting. Lucy, I like gin, although they've got a bit silly with it now. Most of them are barely gin anymore. Gin became popular because it's really cheap to make, basically, and loads of little kind of, off the back of where we went through the craft beer phase of like everybody was like microbreweries and like loads of the craft beers. People realised it was really cheap to set up gin distilleries as well, and so you got all of these little local gin distilleries and things, and then that really boomed. So yeah. Anyway, it's just after 11 o'clock. We've chatted about everything and its dog tonight, as we always do. I've basically got some paint and the base coat and washes and stuff on a load of these ships. I kind of, rather than finishing one tonight, I've gone through and done the best part of 4. So yeah, that was quite nice. Luke's in there. I can throw a stone down here and hit a craft gin distiller. Yeah. So, folks, thank you very much. Thank you to everyone who donated tonight as well. Thank you who also who was it? I forget now. Somebody joined the membership thing tonight. Was it Adam? I think. And Sunder's joined the Patreon as well. Thank you very much, folks. Luke says, "Any podcast coming up?" to be honest, mate, I forgot all about it, if I'm honest, and I do need to sort that out. So yes, there will be some, mate. I need to pull my shit together and get one done, because I'm owed a few now. So yes, folks, thank you very much for tonight. Like I said earlier on this week, videos are going to be a bit tight this week with looking after the little one and stuff, but we should start to get back to normal next week when he's back to nursery on Monday. So if you haven't caught up with Monday's live stream, there's the 2 different kind of clips videos, the one about Cursed City and the one about Kill Team to catch up on. You can catch up on Monday's stream. I think I've done, if I look on my chart, I've done 19 videos in 27 days this month, so I'm sure there must be some stuff to catch up on that you can do over the next few days until I'm back making videos next week. So take care, folks, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it, and if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month, and there is lots of different tiers and bonuses which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.